button. There we go.
Yeah,
Start streaming.
man.
3, 2, 1.
I'm shocked. I'm just shocked at how. We'll just do this kind of live intro.
I know there's so much of these guys that like miss stuff because we talk for like 15 minutes, and then we go live, and it's like, all right, we got through all the topics. You guys have a good evening.
Roll right into
See you next week.
Conversation. But I'm really shocked at I'm kind of mixed shocked. On one hand, I'm shocked that there's been so many, like in such a short amount of time, these like kind of whether it's bad customer service or janky products. I'm surprised at the state of the tech world.
Same.
In the last maybe year, let's say, because we had like the Newegg thing.
Yeah.
We had there was something that came right on the heels of that as well. There's all this Intel stuff going on recently. There was the 4090s were melting.
Yep.
That was like in the last year.
Yeah, the power cables. Yep.
Newegg dropping the ball on there.
And nothing happens unless like a couple big guys take a swing at it.
Like fucking Gamers Next is coming out and saying like, what the heck is going on here, guys?
It could be a million little guys. Nothing happens. Nothing happens. It has to be the big guys.
Yeah, man. You know that it's been hundreds of people got screwed by Newegg on, getting RMA stuff that they thought was they bought new and it turns out it's a used board or whatever. Hundreds of people getting screwed like that. How many people, and even then Nvidia never really admitted to anything, and some of them are still like at a problem.
Yep.
And they never say, oh, it's not our fault, it's you're not plugging it in right and this stuff. And there's some back and forth. Some of it is user error, but at the same time you should be building a product that kind of like insulates the user from being an idiot.
The way I see it is if a million people complain about something like within a reasonable amount of time, like you fuck something up. Even if it's not your fault, your documentation was bad or the way you described something was bad. Like if a bunch of people buy your product, they're all having the same problem. That's not user error. Like that's like you misrepresented something for that many people to come to that wrong conclusion.
Exactly.
So
man. And then EK, all the EK business, that's fairly recent. ASUS stuff, that's fairly recent.
I watched a little bit about EK. They were like screwing over their influencers, right? Is that what they were doing?
Not just influencers.
What else were they doing?
Started with one guy, a contractor.
EK makes water blocks, by the way, if you guys don't know.
Yeah, EK water blocks. It started with one guy going on LinkedIn, I think it was, and saying like, I haven't been paid by EK for some work that I did like a couple years, or like over the last 2 years. They haven't paid me like they're supposed to.
Yep.
And then they sent him a cease and desist for like defamation or something. Like it was like a breach of NDA. Like he wasn't supposed to talk about his contract, but they hadn't paid him in like 6 months.
If you don't get paid, the contract's null and void.
The contract.
Yeah, no contract if you don't get paid.
Yeah, you didn't pay me on time. You're in breach of contract first,
100%.
and so I can talk about whatever I want.
100%.
Oh man, and then a bunch of other people started talking about like, employees, like direct freaking W-2 employees not getting paid or not getting paid enough. Other contractors, vendors, they hadn't paid their Texas franchise tax or whatever, right? Your business, like you got to re-up your business license every year or whatever to pay your taxes.
Quite a few businesses have been caught with that lately.
Yeah,
I've noticed. That's kind of a big deal.
Tech companies. That's what I mean. Like the last year or so has been very like, what the fuck is going on?
You know what's weird? Industry? What's the one common thing between all these is money. Like, why are these companies like so low on money that they're laying off all their employees? They're not paying their shit. Like, what? I don't understand, because people are buying the shit. Like people are buying the products. Like they're moving, they're selling. So why are these companies starving? In the case of EK, they don't own their manufacturing, so like they have to buy 10,000 blocks or whatever. There's an MOQ. Yeah. You got to buy 10,000 blocks or whatever, and they're expensive. Like it's not that uncommon, right? Like to have another company tool up and make your shit for you, or is this like small batch orders? If you're small, yeah, but EK has been around for a long time. I'm a little surprised they didn't own some of their. Dude, all my shit was EK, and my first and only water built PC that I ever built, that big, I don't know if you ever saw that big refrigerator that I used to have with like 24 fans. It was crazy. I'll send you a link to a video later. It was so out of control. It was the loudest computer I ever built in my life, yet it was still water cooled because they had all these ultra cozy fans in it. But yeah,
man.
all the parts on it were EK, and I want to say that no shit, I probably spent $1,200 to $1,500 just on fittings, pipe, pump, radiator. I mean, it was crazy. The amount of money that shit costs is just mind blowing for what it is.
Yeah,
it's like you're talking about plumbing shit. Like you could literally go to the go down to your hardware store, buy a bunch of brass fittings and plumbing and shit, and it would cost like 1/100th of what it costs when they slap a PC water cooling sticker on it. Crazy. It's crazy. I don't know why. I don't really understand why. Like there isn't a competitor coming in that's just like selling this shit like at rock bottom prices. Because truthfully, how hard is it to manufacture like a water block? If you think about it, all it is two halves, right? That are CNC machine. That'd be the most expensive route, or they're injected. High pressure molten metal injection or whatever that they do.
Oh, that I think would be even crazier.
Yeah, actually, I think that's cheaper. It's actually cheaper as long as you're not using like a super high temperature metal. Like as long as it's a metal like copper. Yeah, copper is perfect because I think copper melts at like 1800 C or something like that. Oh. So as long as you make the mold, the injection mold out of like titanium or something that can hold up to like 20 or stainless steel that can hold up to 2800 C, then you have no problem. But yeah, no, dude, I've seen this. Like they can injection mold metal now just like they do plastic. Like no shit, full on molten red hot metal. They'll inject it into a cavity. It like preheats the mold so that the mold's basically almost glowing. And then they inject the thing into it, and then they really quick shock it with water, which causes the part to retract from all the crevices or whatever, and then it just breaks free of the mold and falls out. And and what you can do with soft metals, I think you can do it with like, I mean, obviously things like lead, no problem, right? But like copper, they can do it. They can do it even with, I think even like soft steels and stuff, low melting point alloyed steels, they can do it. They just can't do it with obviously the mold. The mold itself is water cooled, so but I don't think that they can do the same metal that the mold is made out of, even though it's water cooled, because it would start to ruin the surface. Yeah, and you'd lose all the detail. But yeah, it's like crazy. Actually, one of the biggest companies that uses molten metal injection is Tesla, of all companies. So Tesla, their frame on their new cars is only like 2 pieces. It used to be like 70 pieces bolted and welded together. Now the entire frame of the car is just a front and a back piece that's all just injection molded out of aluminum. Isn't that crazy? So they have this, it's like, I think they have the biggest injection molding machine in the world, like literally at their factory. Like there's no machine ever made bigger. And it can literally crank out like an entire subframe of a car, just like every, couple of minutes, it pops another subframe out. It's wild. Wow. It's wild shit. So, but they can do that on a small scale too. Okay. But Tesla figured out how to do it on this macroscopic massive scale, and it saves so much money, because if you could imagine how much labor and how much time does it take to weld together 70 individual parts, right? Oh, quite a bit. Versus just having one giant part, just boom, it pops out of the mold, break the flashing, you're done. It's like ready to go in the car. Oh, did a thing happen?
350 ZARs.
Oh, we got 350 ZARs? Hell yeah,
brother! It is I just saw it. Where the good to go?
Hey, Nick just noticed my shirt, my Obese to Beast shirt. Or in my case, Obese to Obeaster. When I got this shirt, I was like 80 pounds less.
Right on, man. Thanks very much.
Dude,
I'm
you're
gonna be
awesome.
going there. I'm going to be going there in the summer.
Aubrey. Oh, wait, where are you going?
South Africa.
No, you're not.
Yeah.
Bro, you're going to get murdered down there.
Why?
I'm just kidding. It's so much. It's so not as bad as people say it is. Oh my God.
Man, most places aren't as bad as what they freaking say it is.
No, the funny thing is, it's always like one thing. It's like, as long as you don't go to like, what's the really bad place down there? Is it like Cape Town or whatever, where it's like the murder rate's like huge, or what? No, there's one
Joburg,
city.
I think, actually.
Is that? Hold on here. Johannesburg, right? That's the big city, isn't it? All right,
Cape Town and Joburg are like two big cities.
In South Africa, right? Africa has the highest crime rate. I want to say there's like one place in South Africa that's like the most dangerous place in the world. They said that, and don't quote me on this. I may be completely wrong, but I remember hearing that there was a place there where it's like one person gets murdered like every square mile every day or something like that.
Venezuela, yeah,
it's like super bad. There's some really bad places though. Like, but the thing is, like you said, anywhere you go, anywhere. Oh yeah, I found it right here. So 6th most dangerous place in the world, Cape Town, with the sweeping view of the table. Yeah, you're like 6. I'm fucking hold my beer.
Top 3. Get out of here.
So yeah, and it does say it's South Africa's most popular city and capital. Okay, well, I mean, obviously the capitals are always going to have high crime. It doesn't matter where you go.
Yeah.
Port
And it's all
Elizabeth.
touristy stuff. I'm not doing anything crazy.
So Port Elizabeth is even more dangerous, wherever
I
that
don't even know
is.
what that is. Yeah.
Ulgoa Bay and Eastern Cape Province. Let's see here. Peter Martzenberg. What the hell is this? PIETERMARITZBURG.
Sure.
It's like Peter Maritzburg, known for the city of flowers due to the rose beds found in the National Botanical Gardens. That is the 4th dangerous place. Johannesburg is number 3, though. So Johannesburg is way more dangerous than Cape Town. Way more dangerous. Durban. Have you ever heard of Durban? Durban is even more dangerous than Johannesburg.
Huh.
You want to know what the most dangerous place is, though, in all of South Africa? Pretoria.
Huh.
I know it sounds like something from like a fucking mystical novel.
Right.
So of the top 10 most dangerous cities in South Africa, the list is topped by Pretoria, which serves as the location for the executive branch of the government. Oh, so that's like their Washington, D.C. Interesting.
Okay.
You know what's funny, though, is we have the same problem here. Doesn't Washington, D.C. have like a crazy crime rate? Like here in the United States? I'm pretty sure Washington, D.C. is like one of the biggest crime rates in the United States.
I've heard about that, yeah.
Mm-hmm. And I don't know why. I don't really know why. It's like within like a 10-mile radius of the capital. It's like there's something about that area that is just very, very crime stricken. And I don't really know why that is. Like I can't think of any, because what's the difference between so Washington D.C. or District of Columbia, not a real state. Like it's not, they can't vote, right? They which is funny. Don't you think that's weird that the place where our capital is and the place where our entire government operates, the people there can't vote? I always thought that was really weird. Like, can somebody now I know this sounds incredibly ignorant because I'm sure, as a student of history, I should fucking know this, but somebody explain to me in chat, please, why is the District of Columbia treated basically the same as like one of our other territories? Like it's not an official state. Like why doesn't it have statehood? I always found that really bizarre.
Something to do with voting and stuff, or like representation. It's supposed to be like a neutral space so that there wasn't something like that. I think it was like to avoid favoritism for any one particular state. So like the capital of the country isn't actually in any one state. They created a neutral zone for
that actually would make sense. Let's see here.
For the capital to be in, so that there isn't any favoritism.
All right, so why can't Washington D.C. vote? Here, we're gonna pull out our old buddy co-pilot.
They pushed for statehood a few times, especially recently. It's come up quite often.
Okay, so why can't people vote in Washington D.C.?
You can still vote. They can still vote. I think. Yeah, you still
for presidential elections, but they don't have like a statehood. They don't have like state elections, do they?
Yeah, there's no representation. They don't have a senator or representatives.
Oh, geez, this is a complex topic. The voting rights of citizens in the District of Columbia or Washington, D.C. differ from the rights of citizens in the 50 U.S. states. The United States Constitution grants each state voting representation in both House of the United States Congress. However, it defines the federal district as being outside of any state and does not grant it any voting representation in Congress. In the House of Representatives, the district is represented by a delegate. Okay, so they do have somebody who it's
like non-voting, right?
Yeah, due to constitutional provisions, is not allowed to vote on the House floor, but they can vote on procedural matters and congressional committees. So they can't vote on stuff that's internal.
Sanction somebody for being a dick.
Sure.
DC can vote.
Yep, and it says DC residents have no representation in the Senate at all. The lack of full voting representation for nearly 700,000 residents of Washington, D.C., who are American citizens, they do pay federal tax, and they serve in the military, has been a point of contention for some kind. This lack of political representation for the District of Columbia, which has more people than Vermont or Vermont and Wyoming, is one of our political systems disenfranchises and underrepresents voters of color.
I don't know.
Interesting.
I don't know. Like, it's it's a weird.
It just, I don't know. To me, I understand the whole like I like your idea, like the fact that they need like a sovereign ground, right? Where it's like nobody there is leaning one way or the other, where they have more control than they should. Right. And obviously, if you had representation of the place where you literally house the government, you would have quite a bit more power than everybody else because you're literally controlling the land it's sitting on.
There'd be weird. I feel like there'd be weird. I don't know. It's like I don't know. I feel like it would come out weird. Like somehow there'd be some advantages taken that shouldn't. I guess I don't know exactly how that would work, but
it's very bizarre.
They vote for a Virginian governor. Okay. That's interesting.
That is so weird.
It was
Yeah, that's
almost
something I'm
kind
gonna
of a
have to.
part of Virginia, huh?
That's something I'm gonna have to dig into because, like, I kind of am curious about that. Like, that seems so weird.
Yeah.
Oh, by the way, I got the conversion back. 350 SARS is $19.01
thanks.
USD. Thank
Yeah,
you,
right
dude.
on. Yeah.
Is it Aubrey? Aubrey is. Actually, Aubrey wants me to do the no bat knife.
Oh yeah,
Or somebody did in chat.
Yeah, Sahil was wondering about that quite a bit. You still
got
got it around your desk,
dude. I still. Well, no, it's magnetized. It's held by 2 Western Digital WD Green drives under my desk. The magnets from it
nice.
that I harvested.
I have one that's cut out of acrylic. It's just the outer shape of it. It's in my it's over my workbench.
Did you cut that out on the company machine?
I didn't. Someone did, but yeah, it's exactly that. But cut out of acrylic.
Dude, I wish I had a laser cutter. That's the one thing here. I gotta scratch my ass. Hold on, guys. Don't mind me. I'm just gonna get on in there. Sorry, gotta get that crusty nugget off the sidewall there. That's how I roll. Dude, I got no sleep last night, guys. I'm drinking six shots of espresso in this cup.
I was up late goofing off with Dungeons and Dragons characters. I downloaded this software called Aurora, and I was making some D&D characters and stuff.
I've heard of that software.
I was up to like 2:30. I was like, oh shit! I look finally. Oh damn, it was late, real late. Oh man, I gotta go to bed. And then dogs, of course, don't understand that sleeping in, so they get up at 7 or something, and I'm like, oh god.
Yeah, I tried to go to bed, but like I told you before the show, my son had a toothache that he's been fighting growing pains, and so he comes into the room, and I have to get him some medicine, and I have to get him calmed down, rub his sinus here because it's like sinus is causing a problem with one of his teeth coming in. It's causing pain. And so I finally get him to sleep, and then he just kicks me in the back all night long. Rude. I woke up twice falling off the bed. Like I was literally like I caught myself falling off the bed because he just kept pushing me. Like he turned his back into me and was kicking off of mama. Just like shoving me off the side of the bed. I was like, damn kid. And then the funny thing is right when the alarm goes off in the morning, it's like, I'm like, oh God, I haven't slept yet. Then he finally wakes up after I tried to wake him up like 20 times to get him to go to bed, but he was so out of it. Like he would not wake up. He finally, when the alarm goes off, wakes up and he's like, oh, hi, Dad. Good morning. And then he gets up and goes in his room and gets in his bed and goes to sleep. And I'm like,
oh, man. Yeah, right.
So, yeah, so he's downstairs sleeping right now while I'm upstairs. Like, I haven't even gone to sleep yet, technically. But the truth is, most tech talks, I don't sleep very much. Like, you know that. Usually it's like, between 1 and 3 hours is about what I usually sleep before I do a tech talk. So, not really, I don't do it on purpose. It just happens to work out that way usually on the weekends. Let's see how many people got in here now, or is everybody rolling in? Let's see. Oh, 135. Okay, we're getting up there. All right, people are starting to come in. People are waking up.
A bunch of folks early on were saying, "Oh, I got the notification. Like, I'm the first time I got the thing." Jay Cruz was like, "Just got the notification." Who else? Ricky Smith said they got a notification.
I've been noticing that a couple of platforms have been sending out more notifications on stuff than they were before. So I don't know what happened. I don't know if they know people are onto them or what's going on. But like yesterday,
that's fucking weird too, man. Everything about the algorithms and stuff. Like, Instagram's being weird. Fucking YouTube's being weird. Like, I don't know. It's just, and then you hear like, so I'm on Threads quite a bit lately, and the boss of both Threads and Instagram, this guy Mosery, is trying to talk about like, oh, it's something blah blah blah, talking about trying to like dance around the topic of like the algorithm, and basically just comes out and saying like, do you guys ever think, do you think maybe consider that like it's just your content, or like maybe the people who are following you and stuff like maybe just weren't on that day. And it's like, bro, you cannot sit here and tell me that, okay, say like somebody with 10,000 plus followers will show like the little analytics window for a video, and it'll say like 93% non-followers, and it'll have like 1 million views or whatever, right? And like 93% of it is non-followers. And it's like, why are you not showing my stuff to my followers? And he comes back with like, oh, well, that's weird. Like, like
first I've heard of it
or whatever, blah, blah, blah. And he's like, well, maybe your followers just like weren't on that day. And it's like, bullshit. Come show me the internal data that says okay, you got 1 billion people who use Instagram, and you're going to tell me that not like, what's the percentage of people who are on there for more than an hour a day? That's rookie numbers, an hour, right? I guarantee that the percentage of users on Instagram is like probably 80% are on there at least an hour every single day. Every day. You cannot tell me that somebody with a big following is not gonna get 50% of their followers on that day.
Dude, it's easily proven too, because like what I've been doing is I've been doing a lot of research specifically on X. AKA Twitter, and stuff. I've been going deep too. Like I have alt accounts, I have a subbed alt account, an unsubbed alt account, an alt account that follows me, an alt account that specifically doesn't follow me but still looks at my posts. And because I'm trying to trace the algorithm, when you don't have source code, you have to reverse engineer, right? White box versus black box, right?
Right.
So because I don't have access to the source code, since Elon hasn't done an upload in over 10 months on GitHub, we'll still run around. He still tells everybody it's open source,
code, right?
He still tells everybody, every meeting, we're open source, we're an open book, the algorithm's up on GitHub. It's like bullshit. It is.
No,
the only part of the algorithm,
fucking open source. Okay?
The only part of the algorithm that's on GitHub is the actual functions themselves. The data that actually determines what the functions do is stored in a database they don't publish. So what I mean is, let me give you an example. The function is there that says, should I show this post to a user based on this weighting criteria? But it doesn't show you what's in the database that it's looking at for that weighting criteria. So it's like, from looking at the function source code that they are manipulating, whether somebody can or can't see somebody they're following's post based on a score. So you can infer that from looking at the code, but you don't know what specific words, phrases, or sentiment is being measured. Like you can't look into that database. So the way that you have to measure it is by creating another account, following you from that other account, posting from the primary, going to the alt and seeing if it shows up and which feeds it shows up, if at all. And then by that, you can start tracing. And so that's what I've been doing, trying to figure out what terms. Like, for instance, I know they're using AI for a fact now. So I don't know if they're using ChatGPT or if they're using Grok. It doesn't really matter. They're both the same thing. But just Grok is a shittier version of ChatGPT 3.5. But they are definitely using AI. And the reason I know they're using AI is because it can determine negative sentiment even with different wording. Yeah. So like you don't have to say like Elon Musk sucks. It's not like they had to put a bunch of fixed phrases in there. You can just say, I think that Elon Musk isn't the greatest person in the world because he lied about this, and it can still look at that entire message and give you a penalty against your overall score for saying something negative about Elon Musk. And then that negative score will impact which followers who follow you can see you, even if they're online in that moment, hitting F5, scrolling their feed, and you post. Whether or not they can see your post isn't determined by any chronology whatsoever. It's not determined on whether they follow you or not. However, that does increase the likelihood of them seeing it, right? But ultimately what decides if they see it or not isn't that they follow you and want to see it. Even if notifications are enabled, doesn't matter. What determines is if it passes the test, if it goes through all these functions and at the end it has a score high enough that it can be shown to all of your followers. And the thing is, you can't even get a perfect score. I determined this too. You cannot get a perfect score that will guarantee all of your followers that are currently online will see you without having a tier 2 premium account. Because the only way to get the final boost to 100% where like everybody who's online at that moment will see you in their For You feed is if you have a tier 2 premium. Your post has absolutely no dings against it on the score. None of your past posts, I think it's up to 1,500 of your past posts, if they don't have any negative stuff in them, then that score combined with your current score and you don't say anything negative in that post, so it passes that sniff test, then technically all your followers that are online at that moment should see you when they're scrolling their feed. So, but it can go the other way too. Like if you post too many negative things, what it'll do is it just won't show anything in the For You feed at all. So like I've gone to my alt account on days before where I've F5'd every single post. I've made like 80 posts in a day. 80. Yeah. And not a single one of them showed up under For You. I had to go to the following feed to see them. And even under following, some of the ones that I specifically engineered that I know pretty much from tracing that they're negative enough that they're going to trigger the system, they don't even show up under following. So even though I'm posting something and somebody's following me, it doesn't show up under their following feed. They have to physically click on my account to see it, which that should never happen. Anything you post should show up in the following feed. If somebody's following you and they go to their following feed, they should see it no matter what. And the sad thing is it's not just X. YouTube does the same thing. If you ever go into your sub box on YouTube, if somebody creates a video that YouTube flags as controversial and disables ads on, they will actually drop it sometimes from your subscription box. So you'll click on the channel and you'll go there and there'll be a new video there. But if you go to your sub box, it's not in there even though you're subbed to them.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah, so it's like all of these companies are really, really screwing with us. But the reason why I go after X more than anything else is X is the only company out of all of them that is publicly stating over and over again daily how free speech and anti-censorship and how they show everything and they believe that everybody should have a same voice and everybody should. And it's like total BS, right? It's like all the other companies, we know they're manipulating stuff. They're not making those claims. They're like, yeah, our algorithm is screwing with everything.
Even Instagram just recently come out and say, oh, we're gonna start like boosting smaller accounts.
Yep.
Like newer / smaller accounts. And
YouTube did that for a period. Yeah, they're like, we're going to intentionally take content from new guys, put it into your followers' feeds.
Yeah.
So that they have a higher likelihood of clicking on that instead of watching your content, which then takes your content down in views.
Yeah. Like, well, and it just drives me. It's so weird. It's like people like, again, with the Threads or Instagram thing, they're like, oh, well, like followers don't really matter that much. And it's like, but isn't that the whole point? Isn't that like part of the point, at least, is like, we want these people. I follow somebody because I want to see more of their content or content like that.
Yeah.
And at least on the content like that, I am getting more of that. But like, I also want to see the content from the people that I'm following. And it's like, oh, well, then go to the following tab. Well, I want both. Right. I want to see the content from the people that I follow and also similar related content. Like, I don't want just a feed of people I'm following, because
no matter what, you'll see new content. No matter what, if you go to the main page, if you open up the app and you go to the main page, or you go to recommended feed or whatever, no matter what, you're going to see new content as you scroll through. It's always going to be mixed in there to some extent. Where I take issue is where they're specifically pulling your content away from your followers on purpose. Like
that's just it.
Yeah, that pisses me off.
When I'm on my For You feed or whatever, the recommended or whatever flavor they call it on the channel,
it's the default.
I feel like it should be, I don't know, 80-20. Like, I want to see mostly content of the people that I'm following. And then, every third or fourth post or something, I don't know, like I said, 20% should be new stuff. And I'll even take promoted, like related promoted stuff. Like, the kind of is what bugs me about promoted stuff, like especially on X, is it's not relevant to the feed. Like, I'm usually on following when I'm on X. And
same here. I make sure it's always on following. And
I'll still get weird shit that doesn't make sense.
Yep.
It'll be somebody promoting like their particular post. It's not necessarily an ad, so technically on the back end it's an ad, right? But by
the way, following also, a lot of people don't know this. Following doesn't just show you who you're following. If somebody else follows somebody that you're following and then they respond to something that they post, you will also see it. So you get
I'm okay with that.
Well, to an extent,
how I get some new stuff, right? If you comment on something if you comment on somebody that I'm not following, that's relevant, right? Like, I want to know what you're interested in.
What I hate is how the bots abuse it, though. Is the bots will reply to people and just be like, hey, pussy in bio, and the whole following is like pussy in bio because they're responding to somebody you follow, and now they're making you see it in your following feed. I wish you could degrade it down and say, I only want to see like posts from people that are established, that have been here for 6 months. Like, I wish that they had better mechanics on that.
There's no excuse. No, there's no excuse.
There's
no excuse. Like, again, I'm gonna pick on Threads here. I can tell. Like, the vast majority of and it's usually porn bots that I'm get follow me or whatever. I'll check. Oh, bing, you get a new follower, and I look and like I can tell it'll be like, Justiana.ex125, and I'm like, bro, that's a fucking porn bot. And I go. It's
always like 6 random numbers.
First two posts are just an ass and a link to someplace.
Yep.
And it's like you can't. Like, that's basic pattern recognition shit. That's like regex kind of stuff. You can't tell me that you can't create some algorithm that just eats that. How is that a freaking... And then on X, God forbid, X, they'll verify accounts like that. That's totally okay. I thought the whole $8 a month thing was supposed to keep bots from... supposed to put the bots down. When they're powered by stolen credit cards and the scams that they're pushing... The $8 a month doesn't mean squat.
Stolen credit card or PayPal, either or. If you pay it, they'll give you verified. They don't even check your address. They don't check your phone number. They don't verify shit. Whereas old Twitter did. To get verified before, they had to have your license picture on file. Yep.
And man. And it's just wrong. It was just ridiculous. Like, I even saw something like Elon was like, "Oh, we'll pay like $1 to post or something like that. $1 to for every post or something, some fucking crazy stuff like that. And it's not going to make any difference. It just.
You know what's crazy?
Weird, man.
So let me ask you if you know this. I'm curious if you know this, and you probably do from seeing just my tweets. But I'm curious if you knew this before. So Elon actually pushes anybody that doesn't pay gets pushed to the bottom of the comment stack on every post, regardless. So if you go to X right now, anybody can do this right now. I'm telling you, like a lot of people think, oh, why are you going out for Elon? It's like, no, I don't got out for Elon, although he is a douchebag piece of shit. I actually go and verify. I have the fucking receipts and the evidence for everything that I say and everything I post about X. I have the fucking receipts. Okay. I've done the research. That's why I get a little bit upset when people are like, you don't know what the fuck you're talking about. It's like bullshit. You go fucking spend hours and hours and hours over weeks tracing this shit and reviewing the code. Let's see what you come up with, dumb shit. Anyways, I'm done insulting those people. Go to X, click on any post from anybody big. Doesn't matter. It can be Mr. Beast. It can be Elon Musk himself. It can be fucking Bill Gates. Doesn't matter. Anybody big, Barack Obama, fucking whatever. Click on any account that you want. Click on any post, and you'll notice immediately as you're scrolling through the comments, and you can't change the order. There is no, you used to be able to. You can't change the order. You can't say newest or oldest. It's just a fixed order. You will notice that as you scroll, every single account will have a verified check mark next to it. You will not see a single account that doesn't have a check mark next to it. And the reason for that being is anytime you post and reply to anything, doesn't matter what it is, it can be a verified account or an unverified account, you immediately go to the top of the comments and you push everybody else that doesn't pay down. And they only render the first, I think it's 10 pages of comments before it won't send you anymore. It basically limits how many so that you don't scroll 250,000 comments or whatever. So what happens is once you get 10 pages of verified people commenting, everybody that hasn't paid gets pushed off the bottom and their comment can never be seen without the person physically going to their account or following them and seeing it. So, and this is a big problem because you have a platform that is advertising itself as free speech, yet they're only giving visibility to that are commenting on big people, right? They're only giving visibility to accounts that have a financial relationship with Elon Musk. Because think about it. It's like, if you're paying Elon Musk, with the rare exceptions like myself, where I'm doing it on purpose, like I'm literally giving him money just to boost myself so that I can be visible in a realm where nobody else can be visible, right? I'm spending my money to represent the people that can't, right? So I go in there, and if you scroll down those comments, you will notice that everybody that pays Elon Musk for tier 1, oh, and by the way, tier 1 now gets pushed below tier 2. I verified that just the other day. So now if you pay $20 a month, you actually go above the guys. So it doesn't matter what chronology there is. So let's say I post the very first comment. If somebody comes along with a tier 2 sub, because I only have a tier 1, I'm not that into giving Elon all my money. So if you have a tier 1 sub and you comment, your comment goes to the top of the stack and pushes mine down. However, if I comment and you don't have any premium or no verified, no check mark, nothing, I then push you down underneath me. And it doesn't matter the time of the comment. You could be the first person to respond to that post. And within a couple of seconds, boom, you're gone. You're not even visible. Nobody can ever see you didn't exist. And so keep in mind that Elon is telling everybody in these interviews that he is for free speech and anti-censorship and making sure that everybody has a voice and this is the best place for news. But by his actions, he is giving the biggest voice to the people who pay him money, which more often than not are going to support him, because you're not going to give money to somebody you don't support generally. There are exceptions, but the vast majority of people that are paying Elon Musk believe in his X vision. Therefore, if you go to Elon's posts, now every comment is almost positive. It doesn't matter. He could be the most batshit crazy stuff. Like yesterday he was on a racist tirade where like every post had something to do with like, oh, black people shouldn't be doctors and this shouldn't be this. I mean, he was like really going off the hook, right? Having a bad day. And you go look at the comments and it's all just white supremacists with verification, tier 2 verification. Yeah, Elon, you're the best, blah, blah, blah. Scroll down like 100 pages, you might see one slightly negative comment. However, if you go to the search and you type in that same post, you put in that same post ID, and then you say specifically, you want, what is it? Accounts with low likes. Like you basically like put in a little bar you want below this like threshold. You can start seeing the comments from people that didn't have verification. And the vast majority of those comments are negative. Yeah. And those are the first comments. Like when he first posts for like a millisecond, because I did this, I had a script that was basically spamming F5 in the browser to find a new post. Because yesterday I needed to see how long it took for all the non-verified accounts to get pushed out of the comments. And it took under 2 minutes. So yesterday, from the time he posted, within under 2 minutes, it was gone. Like you could scroll all the way to the bottom of comments where it wouldn't send you any more comments, and they were all blue checkmark comments. And that was after I had already commented not the first. I was within the first 100, But I had commented with my unverified account to make sure that I could refresh quick and see that I'm in the comments, right? I'm near the bottom, but I'm in there. I'm visible. And then I go to my other account, and by the time I logged into my other account and refreshed, my comment was already pushed out through the bottom, where you, no matter how many pages you loaded, you couldn't see that comment anymore, even though I was one of the first 100 to reply to him. So it's absolute BS. And the thing is because everybody thinks, oh, what we see on X is representative of the majority. No, it's not. It's not. The premium accounts are the minority by like a huge amount, like less than like 1% of the platform has premium. Yet they're the top 99% that you see. And the only time you see people that don't have premium is if the person that you're replying to doesn't have enough premium people replying to them to push you down.
Yeah.
So like if you're somebody who doesn't have premium and mostly people follow you that don't have premium, then you're going to see, you might see their comments. But just keep in mind, if you have enough people following you that have premium, they're going to push all the guys without premium to the bottom where you're not even going to see them. Even if they tag you, even if they're the first people to respond, you're going to hit F5 and boom, they're just pushed off the bottom if you have any level of popularity. So it's really terrible. And it's like, and people just seem to defend him like, oh no, he's really for free speech and he's really for anti-censorship. And the thing is like, look at his track record. The fucking guy literally still has an Elon Jet band. A legitimate account that still exists on every other platform. He's on Instagram. He's on Truth, even fucking Donald Trump's fucking thing, right? He's on Threads. He's on Facebook. He's been on all these platforms. The only platform he is banned from, the only one he's banned from, is X, and it's because he turned down Elon Musk's offer of $5,000 and countered him for a Tesla. He wanted a Tesla, and Elon's like, "Oh, I'm not going to give you a Tesla."
Yeah.
So he bans him off the platform. Yet at the same time, he sends out a post. He's like, "I'm unbanning everybody." Remember when he did that? He said, "I'm unbanning everybody."
Yep.
Didn't unban Elon Jet, but you know who he did unban? Fucking Nick Fuentes or whatever, the KKK member, the Proud Boys fucking leader, the Grand Wizard of the KKK, David Duke. All these fucking super hyper racist people, not only did he unban them, he actually tagged them and messaged them and said, welcome back. Kanye West? Although Kanye, I think, got banned again because he kind of bit Elon. Elon unbanned him and he immediately came back and started throwing shit. And he was like, all right, I got to send you packing. But it just blows my mind that people believe that it's like, oh, but he unbanned everybody and he does this and he gives everybody an equal voice. And it's like, not if you actually test it. If you actually spend any amount of time testing the system, you'll see the same thing I am. I'm not seeing a fucking illusion here. Like, this is all stuff you can repeat. I can tell you how to do it yourself. And I tell people all the time, create an alt account. This is the best way to see how visible you are to your audience. Create an alt account, follow your primary account. Open your alt account, leave it in another window. Usually I use another browser just so the cookies don't conflict with each other from the different logins. And I have it sitting over there. And then whenever I post something on my primary account, I check the For You feed on my alt account. If it doesn't show up under the For You feed within 10 seconds, I can then delete it if it's something that I want more people to see it, reword it to try to get it around the filter, repost it again until it shows up under For You. Then once it shows up under For You, I know I'm good. And I know that the odds of more of my audience seeing it. Now, that doesn't mean everybody's going to see it, obviously. But it does mean that since I have 100 and some odd thousand people following me, the odds of that account being one of the randomly picked ones to show it is relatively low, which means if I do see it, odds are it's going to be on the larger side of subset of people that are getting it. Not guaranteed, but, you know, just statistically speaking. And so it allows you to kind of do these little tests where you can see like what is being hidden and what isn't. And it's crazy. I do a test. You guys probably noticed, like, do you see the tweets I send out? It's usually about twice a month. I'll send out tweets says, I love Elon Musk. He's the greatest person ever. I want to choke on his dick. You know what I mean? I literally send those posts out and people like respond to it immediately. Like, what the fuck are you doing? Do you got brain worms? Like, what? Because a lot of people don't understand what I'm doing.
This is my reset of the algorithm.
That's me gaming the algorithm. Yep. All I'm doing is just trying to keep my social score above shadow ban. So every once in a while, I end up saying enough negative shit about Elon Musk that they basically put me into a bucket where nobody can see me. I just disappear from everybody. And I can verify that too from my alt account. So I know when I'm in that bucket. So when I'm in that bucket, if I send out a couple tweets that are like, oh, I want to eat Elon's butthole with a spoon or whatever, then it'll push me back up over the line and get me back within like 24 hours. And then I'm visible again. So that's why I send those posts out. And the other thing is, if I look at my analytics, if I do 2 of those posts a month, sometimes as many as 4, they're always the top ranking. So out of everything I post, the tech tips, the 3D printing, everything that my audience actually resonates with, It's the one, and my audience is also like the vast majority of my audience doesn't like Elon Musk. There's a lot of people that do, but I'm just saying vast majority of my audience isn't big fans of Elon Musk either. So the fact that I post something about Elon being great and awesome and we love Elon and Elon saving the world or whatever, the fact that that trends within my analytics as the top post of the month every time I do it is sus. That's incredibly sus because it's like what's happening there. And by the way, the organic viewership is the largest. So that means that I'm showing up in people's For You feeds that don't even follow me or know who I am. And the reason for that being is because Elon's putting me there. So I'm basically getting a free impression because his system is like, this guy is so overwhelmingly positive in this post about me that I need more people to see this. So I'm going to start organically or throwing it into people's organic feeds and making them discover this person because they said something so amazing about me. And so when you see that kind of pandering going on and you can see these clear, spikes going up when you do stuff like that, and then you can see the opposite happen when you say something negative, you basically get shadow banned. Like the other day, I replied to Elon's post within 5 seconds of him making his post. So 5 seconds, and my script immediately dropped a comment on it because I wanted to do that tracing thing. And guess how many impressions my comment got, even though I was in the top 100 comments posted for this post that gets literally millions of views. 289 impressions. That means only two, including my own followers, only 289 people totally in the entire world saw the impression. Jeez. So I was like, wait a second, this doesn't make sense because the next one right after mine is 27,000 impressions. And that's a nobody account that's even smaller than mine. So why did mine just go to 280 and just cut off like really quick? So I go to my alt account, I refresh the feed, I scroll all the way to the bottom, my comment's nowhere to be found. It's not showing up anywhere. It's not showing up under following, even though I'm replying to somebody that the other account also follows. So I should see the replies to the person that I replied to. It's not showing up under following. It's not showing up under For You. I literally, that post got completely shadow banned. The only way to see that post was to directly link to it. So then I started F5ing. You know what I noticed? No new impressions except for the one I was adding. So over 5 hours. So it's like nobody could see this. The only people that could see it is if they clicked on my account, went to replies, went down to Elon Musk's post, specifically under my replies, and then scrolled down to where I specifically replied to him. And nobody's going to do that, realistically, right? Right. So I'm looking at this, and so it was the lowest ranked post of the entire month so far. This comment that I made, literally like one of the first comments on an Elon Musk post that got millions of views. So, and if you go through and look, Elon has an entire team of people that curate his comments. Like anytime you see a negative comment show up, it'll instantly just disappear within 10 seconds. If you just keep F5ing, it'll either get pushed off the bottom or it'll just disappear. If it's the only exception to this rule is there's a couple people on the platform that have like millions and millions of followers, like tens of millions. And those people, he can't remove their comment because if he does, it becomes instantly like aware. Like people are like, wait a second, that comment has like, a bajillion likes and reposts. Like if he tries to hide that, the platform will show that is being hidden actively, and that'll shine badly on him. So he only hides accounts that are below that threshold where they're going to go unnoticed. Yeah. But dude, it's just wild. We're all just like controlled by this algorithm. And most people don't know. Most people don't know.
It's just whack. It didn't used to be like that. No. And I mean, it can't all stay the same. Like it's got to change and evolve, and because people they game the system and stuff. But it's just I don't know, man.
Dude, gaming the system is harder than it used to be. Like gaming the system is difficult now ever since AI came along.
They just want to feed the stuff that they want. They keep you on the platform longer and stuff. Like that's all it's all about. And it didn't used to be that way. I don't know. It just sucks that's where we've gotten to. It's these silos almost. Google search sucks dick. It's all just like trying to get you to what is it? It's not about getting you the right answer. It's about getting you the most popular one or the most
exactly,
or the one that'll get you to buy something. Right.
That's what it comes down to. It's not about the right answer. It's about whatever makes them the most money.
Yeah, and then this their AI overview stuff is going to is like just awful, and the CEO guy like dodges the questions about it. Oh man, it's just so bad.
And X won't remove bots. They will. Their policy publicly is that they remove bots. That they want to get rid of bots, report bots. They'll get rid of them. However, you'll notice they've removed every reporting mechanism for reporting a bot specifically. So there used to be a thing where you could say this is a suspected bot. This account is a suspected. That's gone. Now you can say it's a fake person. You can say it's a person pretending to be fake, but that's not the same. There used to be an option that you could say this is a bot back when it was Twitter. Now you can't do that. Now if you report accounts, none of them get removed. I reported 200 accounts last week for being bots. 2 of the accounts got removed, and the reason that they got removed wasn't because they were bots. It was because they literally were hacked accounts, and the people got their account back. So that was it. Like the people got their account back and posted like, hey, our account got suspended for 24 hours and we changed the password and now we're back. Hey, sorry about that. I'm like, holy crap, why are none of these bots getting removed anymore when they actually used to get removed at a pretty decent clip when you reported them, right? And the reason being is because they make the platform so much money.
Monthly active users.
Yep, every impression. So people don't realize when you pay for an ad, it's not just if somebody clicks on it. It's if it's actually visible to a user.
Impressions.
So here's this I can prove this all 100%, by the way. 100% I can prove all of this. If you look at what Elon has done since he's bought Twitter, what does he do? He disables the API, right? Unless it's like a $10,000 a month paying subscriber, like from a company, right? He disables the API. Why did he disable the API? He claims, because it was creating too much traffic and bots were using it, blah, blah, blah. Which, I mean, is true. Bots were using the API. But that was actually a good thing. Because when the bots used the API, they didn't get counted for advertisements. Because when they were using the API, they weren't being served ads, right? They weren't getting impressions in their thing. They were specifically doing actions. So that allowed you to get the bots separated out. Now you can't do that anymore. And he did this by design. Like, I was wondering why he disabled the API the way he did. Why doesn't he just charge $20 a month for it or something? Like, why did he make it like 10 grand? The reason being is he wanted to force all the bots over to Selenium or some other form or Playwright or some other form of web automation. And the reason being is because when a bot is based on Selenium, it has to load the other tweets that are irrelevant to it. It has to look at the feeds, right? It has to pull the feeds to specifically look for the things to reply to scam people. So each time it's loading that feed, that's another set of impressions and another advertisement impression served that makes Twitter money or makes X money. So every one of these bots that is just all day 24/7, F5, scroll, F5, scroll, that's creating like millions and millions of dollars in ad revenue from things that were never even looked at with a human eye. Like they're literally just like there's not even a window being rendered. It's like in the background. It's not, nobody is looking at these things. And so these companies have historically low click-through rates. Like I mean, to the point where it's like 1% of what it used to be. But then what X says is like, oh, don't worry though, our advertisements are so cheap. Like we're the cheapest advertisements on the entire web. They even if you don't get as many click-throughs, it's like it's better bang for the buck because we give you so many more impressions. But it's really not. When you look at it, it's actually one of the worst platforms you can possibly advertise on unless you're running a scam. And that's why you mostly see that's why you mostly see scam ads, is because the people that it's most advantageous for is the scammers, because the scammers don't care if they run a low impact ad campaign that gets a bunch of impressions thrown away. They only have to scam 1 out of 1,000 people, right? So for them it's gravy, right? They're ripping off people, they're happy. But for legitimate companies that are marketing, no, it's a complete and total fucking waste of money. And that's why a lot of companies haven't come back to X. But again, what would happen? Ask yourself, what would happen if Elon just snapped his fingers and killed all the bots tomorrow?
Oh, dude, it'd be like they'd have half the users that they claim to have.
Yep. Last study estimated that between 60 and 80% of the active accounts on the platform are confirmed to be bots.
Well, I mean, what was it during Super Bowl earlier this year, right? Some ad agency.
It was over 60%. Over 60%.
I thought it was like closer to 70.
It might have been. Yeah.
The clicks or whatever they were getting on the ads that they bought on Twitter versus during the Super Bowl, they were like they determined were fake. They weren't, and it's like.
And if you pay for premium, it'll show a little thing that says, click here to expand and show the rest of the comments. But you know what's tricky about that? So, because I've had people say this to me like, oh, it doesn't show you the comments unless you click on the little thing. First of all, only if you have premium. If you don't have premium, a lot of that spam just gets shown to you, even though they know it's a bot. Like, they know it's a bot because under the premium account, it hides it and says, oh, you sure you want to see these these tweets that could be scams? But under my non-premium account, they're just showing up. Yeah, they're just showing up. But here's the thing. If you look at the code, expanding is client side, not server side. They already sent you the data, which means it's already an impression, there, right? Which means every one of these like pussy and bio things that you don't expand, just being hidden behind that show more click is generating an impression for them and boosting them. So, and potentially serving another ad. So it's like, dude, it is so ass what they're getting away with, and the FTC can't do anything about it because Elon took it private. If it was a publicly traded company, he couldn't do any of this. He'd be getting sued left, right, and center by the FTC over and over and over and over again. But he can't.
I just want the loans to come up and they can't pay, and then somebody else got to take over.
I hope that he sells it off like out of desperation at some point instead of just deep sixing it and burning it. That's my biggest worry is that he'll just burn it.
I bet he'd dissolve it or like sell it to private equity or something like that. But
it needs to go under new ownership. Hey, Graham, it's good to see Graham. He's over there in chat.
Else was saying, where was it? Somebody else was saying earlier. I think it was Michael something or other. Mm-hmm. We just need new platforms. We need new stuff to come out. We can't fix this broken shit. We need, it used to be. There used to be more niches right out there. There were like I appreciate the concept of Reddit, right, where you have all of these different like subreddits for whatever. There's a subreddit for any freaking thing you could think of, and I think that's kind of cool. It gives an opportunity for people to discuss, all kinds of various topics and stuff. Like, it doesn't matter what it is, you can find something that people are going to be talking about. But like, there needs to be new platforms, people trying new things, maybe retrying old things, like Kick. Oh, don't even get me started on that shit. Right, we don't have that segment of Tech Talk today. Don't get me started.
I like getting you riled up. It's actually fun.
It's just that's trash, man. The Kick is scam nastiness, and that's just built off of Twitch's backbone.
I have to say,
that's a whole other thing.
I'm surprised Kick is still around. I bet that it would be gone already, so I'm actually kind of surprised it's still around.
They're back to gambling money, man. They'll last. They'll last forever because they're just raking in internet gambling money. People going broke left and right.
Yeah,
and keeping X alive.
You know what does piss me off though about Kick is that there's so many people that moved from Twitch over to Kick or do both Kick and Twitch. And it's like they try to defend it just because they're making money off of it.
Yeah.
And it's like, that drives me nuts. It's like, one thing you'll notice is like, even if I make money off something, like I literally got a check from X today for $26. Last month I got $40. They give me money, right? I get money, but I still call them out for their bullshit. Like, just the same thing for YouTube, same for anything. I don't protect something just because I make money from it. Like, that's not ethically right. But there's so many people I've been noticing lately that the second they start streaming on Kick and they get a paycheck from them, they're like, oh, all the stuff people were saying about Kick was untrue. It's awesome. It's so great. It's so much better than Twitch. And I'm so glad that I went over there. And it's like, and these are people like, no shit. Like, I even know somebody. I'm not going to name any names because I don't want to call anybody out. But obviously, and again, I understand why they're doing it because they need the money. Like, I genuinely understand. Man. I mean, I'm fucking going broke and losing everything right now. So I can understand that. But at the same time, it's like they're in a marginalized group. They're literally like in the LGBTQ category. They literally stream. They're liberal, and yet they're defending Kick every time like anything negative comes out about it. No, this is wrong. Like, Kick is amazing. On a Zoom
call and starts calling people N-words and retards and stuff.
Exactly. Like literally calling in like escort girls and stuff, and like and basically like almost like raping them on camera and stuff. Like, all this shit is happening over on Kick, and the CEO is like in the chat like, yeah, go do it, woo. And it's like, holy shit. Why is this person I know that would that knows what Kick is doing and it's like just deciding to ignore anything bad that they're doing because they're making money now?
Yeah, because that's it. That's right there.
Well, we see the same thing with ads too, right? Like the people that defend Raycon. It's like Raycon is the biggest piece of shit ever made. It's the most overpriced fucking earbuds you pick them up and they literally feel like nothing. They weigh nothing. They're shitty build quality. They fucking break all the time. You go look at the reviews. It's like every like third order, the left one or the right one doesn't work. I mean, they are literally just pieces of shit. You spend $90, $100, $150 for their top end product. And you get these people that are like, no, Raycons are the best. They're fucking amazing. The only people that say Raycons are amazing are the people that are making $40,000 a month hawking them on their fucking YouTube channel. And if you watch them, the only time they ever fucking have Raycons on them or in their ears is in a video where they're advertising it. Every other video, they got fucking ear pods in or fucking Bose headphones or something. Like, they're not using the shitty Raycon ones when they're not being paid for it.
Yep.
And so it's like, listen, I understand you got to make your money. We talked about this before too. It's like I understand if you're doing a commercial, right? if you're doing a commercial for something, but don't sit there and fucking act like it's this great product and everything, and it's like this amazing thing to sell to your audience when you don't actually believe that. Like, if it's a piece of shit product, you shouldn't be representing it. And if it's a marginal product, then you should just be like, this is a commercial. I don't actually use this myself. Like you should not be misrepresenting stuff like that. And it drives me fucking nuts. They do it with Kick. They do it with Raycon. They do it with these fucking vitamin supplements that I'm seeing all over the place now, where it's like, oh, drink your fucking AG1 or whatever. And it's like fucking like maybe $10 worth of vitamins a month. And it's like $100 a month for a subscription. Have you seen that shit?
I mean, I don't know. There's all kinds of weird gaming.
So AG1 is like this fucking green powder shit you dump in. I guess it's got a bunch of vitamins and minerals in it. And everybody that fucking sells this, oh, I swear by it, man. It woke me up. It gave me energy. Like, they're all reading the same talking points. Like, you can tell it's like they're just reading what's on the thing to get the payday, right? Oh, it's so great. It'll change like Cletus McFarland. Oh, I drink it every day and it's amazing. Only in the videos where he's sponsored by it. Every video he's not sponsored by it, you'll never fucking see it anywhere. It's like back in the drawer, right? It's like they're back to drinking fucking Gatorade and Red Bull and shit. But this stuff is like a fucking $100 a month for a subscription. It's a reoccurring subscription. So it's like $100 a month for 30 packets of this dust Kool-Aid shit that you pour in your water that has the equivalent of $10 of vitamins in it. Like actual that'd be customer facing price. That's how much you'd pay to go to GNC and buy the vitamins and just take them to get the same thing that's in it. There's nothing special in it whatsoever. And so it's just, and they're like, oh, it tastes so good and it's so amazing. And so no, it tastes like shit. Like, everybody drinks it. Nobody likes it that drinks it. They just drink it because they spent $90 and they got buyer's remorse. So now it tastes good because it has to taste good. Otherwise they feel bad, like they got ripped off. And sadly, we see this in advertising like way too fucking much, but it carries over. It's not just advertising. It's like defending a platform that does bad things just because you happen to benefit from it. Right? It's like you're still benefiting from it. Like, you saying something negative about that platform to make it a better platform isn't going to hurt you in the end. It'll actually make you better off.
Right.
Like, if your platform's doing shady shit and you're involved with them, you're complicit. You're attached to them. So wouldn't you rather be on the side of being like, this is what they're doing is wrong and they need to fix this? And that, you know, trying to drive them in the right direction rather than just defending their bad actions because you want to keep getting that check. It's like, think to the future, man. Hey, Daniel Terry. Hell yeah, brother.
Also, prior to that, Megberg gave us 69 sexes.
Oh, damn. Woo! But more importantly, his message was more important than the 69 sexes, though. He said Elon Musk sucks. He does, too. Hey, on a different front, did you see the co-founder of Suno AI fucking tweeted me back, and he's in Seattle.
Hey,
he's actually a local.
Right. I did see some back and forth about that.
So he was joking, by the way. He messaged me. He was joking. He came off as religious. He's like, every day we get further from God's light or something like that.
Oh yeah, that's a total joke.
So I trolled him back, and then he DM'd me, and he's like, dude, I'm totally fucking joking. Like, I think it's hilarious. He's like, the songs you made are so fucking hilarious. Because at first I was like, oh shit, is this guy a holy roller? And now he's gonna shut me down, and everybody's gonna blame me for getting it shut down. Because right now Suno AI lets you create songs with custom lyrics, so you can make whatever lyrics you want. Like well, I shouldn't say whatever lyrics. Like, there's some words it won't allow, right? But it'll let you like put in, like, if you say make me a song, which is a bunch of cuss words, and it'll say sorry, I can't do that because of moderation. However, you can click custom and just put in a bunch of cuss words, and it'll do the song. Right. So I've been making these songs and posting them. So when I see this co-founder of Suno say, you know, oh, and every day we get, you know, taken further away from God's light or something, I was like, oh, crap.
Shouldn't have gotten into generative AI if you were worried about moving away from God.
Exactly. So check this out. Oh, actually, you probably can't hear it because I don't have the audio routed properly. But yeah, okay. I'll give everybody a link so they can go listen to Ode to Splooge. My latest hit. That's funny you bring that up, though. I was actually gonna use it to make like a intro for my build streams and stuff. I wanted to do kind of like a twist on remember what was it called? Masterpiece Theater. Oh yeah.
And for some reason in my head, the intro music to that show keeps getting mixed up with Vivaldi's Spring from the Four Seasons, right?
Okay. Oh, I know that song. Yeah, yep.
That's Spring, but and like I go and look up Masterpiece Theater and like the old intro and stuff, and it's similar, but it's really different. And I'm like, man, how did I get those mixed up? And I don't want to use, you know, Spring just in case whatever version I find of it is copyrighted or whatever. But I want to have something sort of inspired, sort of like that, or like a twist on the Bob Ross Joy of Painting intro, something kind of like that.
Yeah.
For my build streams. Yeah, I think that'd be fun.
Oh,
just do like a little. What's the limit? 2 minutes? I think it does. Like it gives you a 2 minute something.
So yeah, 2 minutes. 2 minutes for the free version.
Yeah, and I think that's perfect, right? Because I can just have a starting screen, play that 2 minutes, 5 minutes.
Wait. I think you can extend it.
Gamers Unite putting weird fucking regex numbers, letter stuff in our chat. What is this? Is this some kind of Bitcoin wallet? Huh? You trying to scam people?
Gamers, are you scamming are you scamming our users? Get all puffy chest. You're scamming our users. You some bitch.
It's a song ID. If you put it at the end of the suno.com/song/ and you paste that in there.
Oh, okay.
Bring up this song.
Yeah, no, he's a sub. He's been around forever, so I know he wouldn't do anything bad.
I was just fucking around.
Hey, we got a tech dad with $5 now. So just stop by to say hi and love the show. I rarely get to see it live. Barn, hope your mental health is doing well. Take care, brother. My mental health is doing a lot better, actually. It really is. Here, first I got to give you a little. So I discovered lately, you know what really helps with mental health?
Magnesium. Orgasms.
Yes, that's what orgasms. Dude, you nailed it. It only took you 2 tries. It took you 2 tries. Let's be honest. The second one was going to be your first. You just wanted to pat it so it didn't look like you were a creeper.
I did.
No. All I got to tell you is I'll leave it simple. Miss Barnacules has, I don't know if she read a book or it's like watched Bridgerton or whatever the shit. It's like a combination of them, but she will not leave me alone. Like she is hunting me around the house, and I'm like, holy shit. So my mental state is a lot better. My physical state, not so much. I'm probably taking more battle damage than before, but it's worth it. It's worth it. Hey, I'll take battle damage for that, right? If I got to dislocate a hip, you know, I might as well be doing it that way. But Miss Barnacules has been like, geez, she's like the Predator. You know, you ever watch like Predator with like the alien with like the little 3 little dots? She's like chasing me around the house with those things. Oh my god, dude, it's like we're teenagers again. I'm like, holy shit.
Nice.
So yeah, my mental state has been a lot better lately. A lot better. And I would like to thank the producers of Bridgerton. Also the producers of 50 Shades of Grey, because I think that was the last book a couple of years ago that got her really riled up. Yeah. So good times. Good times are being had. Gamers Unite said TMI. Bullshit TMI.
I mean,
why do you think you're here, brother? Why do you think if your dad didn't splooge inside of your mom, you wouldn't be here, brother? You wouldn't be here.
Kind of go back to like the social media thing. I wish, like, I think like maybe like streaming, right? There used to be a handful, and there still are. Still like there's like Trovo, and there's some other little. Somebody had mentioned Trovo in the chat, and I'm looking at it. And
what is Trovo?
Interesting. Another streaming platform.
Oh, I've never heard of that one.
And it looks to be mostly non-English.
Is it new?
Just from what
has it been around?
It's been around for a bit, a couple of years at least. I have heard of it before, just never poked too much, into it. But and it looks to be popular in the non-English speaking space. I'm seeing a lot of Russian, Arabic, Spanish, Russian, Arabic, a lot of Russian, a lot of Arabic.
I've been noticing a lot of people translating to different languages on their YouTube content and their shorts and stuff, because there must be enough money in it to make it worthwhile for them to do the translations. Yeah,
right. You gotta. Yeah, it's not just the United States and Europe, right?
Dude, it's so cheap to do translations now.
Too.
So sadly, AI screwed that whole business. Like all the people that did live translation, like on Fiverr and stuff, they would like read your. Whoa, shit! What happened? Whoa! What? Uh-oh. What's going on, brother?
Well, hold on, let me see.
Okay, go see. All right, listen for gunshots. No, just kidding. Oh, dude, some scared the shit out of him right there. I don't know what happened there. My God. Miss Barnes taking her AG1. Perhaps. But let's just say there's been a severe lack of sleep on top of the lack of sleep over here at the Nerdgasm Empire. So but no, I'd say my mental health is a lot better than it has been for a while, which is good because I was really in a dark place. But I've still been struggling coming back to live streaming outside of Tech Talk, and I have to fix that because we're heading for disaster if I can't figure that one out. Time for an OnlyFans. Yeah, that's probably not going to happen yet. It
was my office door closing.
Dude, that was freaky the way you responded to that. I thought you had like intruders in your house.
I heard it through the monitor, right? And it didn't sound like a door closing, so it freaked me out. I thought it was like thought it was like the dogs or something.
Dude, last night I had the window open in my bedroom and we started hearing this weird sound we've never heard before. It was like this high-pitched screech. It sounded like a banshee in the woods. Yeah. And I was like, what the shit? And I went over and I stuck my head in the window because the cats were freaking out. They were like, their tails were bottle brushed and they were all like strutting around, low riding. And so I put my head up the window. I think it was like a bobcat's like either mating or fighting or something out in the woods, but it was a sound I'd never heard before, dude. It didn't sound like cats, like normal house cats fighting. It sounded like big cats fighting in the woods. And it was crazy because like we don't have a lot of like everything's developed here now. Like we used to have a lot of woods around here, but it's like it's rare to see even like a deer anymore where I live, where it used to be like a common occurrence. But yeah, whatever that noise was, I'd like to know what the shit that was, because it was pretty haunting. It had all the dogs in the neighborhood barking.
Yeah,
like whatever it was.
Occasionally we'll get coyotes out here. You'll hear them.
I wonder if this could have been coyotes.
They'll freak out when they like get something. Like they'll get crazy excited, and it's like
Can they make a constant noise? Like
not like a long drawn out. It's more like you'll hear 5 or 6 of them like
whoa,
but it's real high pitch almost.
Like mountain lions. The Legion might be right. Maybe it was mountain lions because it was like
where you're at.
It sounded like deeper than this, but it was like but it was like super like deep and growly.
Coyotes
and I was like, what the hell is that? Yeah, we used to have coyotes around here all the time, dude. I remember back when before they put in the development next to me, it was all just a giant like woodsy area, right? Completely non-developed. And there was a guy who had a bunch of goats just chained up in a big fence back in the woods. Like nobody lived there. It was just some dude just like put up a fence. He had goats there and he came and fed them. And it was crazy because the coyotes would come around because of the goats. And yet they never attacked him or killed any of the goats as far as I know, but it would lure them around. Like the goats would, or the coyotes would come around because of the goats, and then people would start feeding them like dog food and shit, so then they wouldn't leave. And so there was a period where we had like all kinds of wildlife here. Like it wasn't uncommon to walk outside and just see a bobcat walking through the cul-de-sac, see a whole family of deer, coyotes all the time running around. Like I saw more coyotes at one point than I did dogs running around. But you just don't see it anymore now. It's like since they've developed everything, it's like super rare. Like even seeing a deer is like, oh God, get the camera. It's crazy. Although frogs make crazy noises too. I've heard some frogs make some insanely crazy noises that I didn't think a frog can make. So that was pretty wild. Let's hear. Delegion said I'm in Texas now. We just get a bunch of wild hogs. Dude, I've heard like the wild hog problem is like becoming an issue. Like big like issue. Louisiana? Like yeah,
Louisiana.
Aren't they? Don't they pay like $5 a tail or something like that?
Yeah, there's bounties for wild hogs in some of those places. Yeah,
like I heard like correct me if I'm wrong, but I heard like muskrats too. Like muskrats are an invasive species some places, and so for muskrats, like you can just go out apparently just at night and just shoot these things, like just
like a beaver-ish.
Yeah, right? Yeah, like right in incorporated areas, just shoot these things. And then you cut their tail off with like a knife or scissors, and then you take the tails back, and they give you like $5 a tail. So you could literally just go out all night and just like decimate the population, grab a bunch of the tails and take them back and get like $5 a tail. I'm like, damn, you could probably make a pretty good living doing that. I'm not big on like animal abuse. I don't want to see these things like get tortured or people shooting them wrong and making them suffer and stuff. But I do understand that they're an invasive species and they're actually doing like irreparable damage to an environment that they should not be in. Like we fucked up by putting them in that environment, but now they're destroying everything else. Not because they're trying to be malicious, just they're trying to survive, and that environment isn't conducive to them doing that.
Yeah.
So same thing with like pythons. Like I didn't know that there's like some places where like pythons, I guess, or you can just go get them and just kill them. Like
I bet.
Like apparently, and like Florida, I guess you can just like if you see a python or whatever, you can just like kill it and then feed it to your snakes. Like you kill the python and you feed it to like your bigger anaconda or whatever at home. Huh. I watched this Chandler's Wildlife or whatever where he does that, where he goes out on these hunts at night where he just finds these that's conflicting to me. It's like, okay, so you're a snake enthusiast and you have a bunch of snakes, but then you're going out and killing snakes to feed to your snakes. It's weird, but okay, whatever. But yeah, he goes out and just collects up like these giant freaking ball pythons or whatever because they're not native, and so they're considered invasive. And so they just go out and get them, they kill them, freeze them, and then thaw them out and feed them to their to kill the parasites and stuff. And then they feed them to their own animals. And I'm just like, man, that is a weird circle of life going on over there. Well, hey, what do you say we get into some topics?
I mean, I guess
Might as well just say we did, just for shits and giggles. So, how many people here in chat, sound off please, are aware of either the Rabbit R1 AI device or the Humane AI pen? And to be clear, these devices are very much the same. They're both pulling the same bullshit. They have a little gimmick. They each got their little gimmick, but more or less they're doing the same thing. They're basically misrepresenting something as AI that isn't truly AI. And this has become a huge issue lately. I called this. I was actually pretty proud of myself because I called this from right when it came out. I was immediately saying this is exactly what the scam is.
The pin was gonna not work the way that they had been touting it. There was there is no way this thing, the whole, it's supposed to beam onto your hand and all this and be able to, I'm gonna hold this product up and tell me where I could buy this thing.
Yeah, do this for 5 minutes. Do this for 5 minutes and tell me how old that gets. Seriously, dude, it's stupid.
It's forever, right? Oh yeah, and holding your hand up. Now I've seen some interesting things that are sort of like that, where it's like a watch kind of thing, and it holds up close to your wrist, and then it paints it onto your hand. It's like a short throw projector. That kind of thing is cool, but I don't understand how you're supposed to sell a product like that when you've already got one. Especially the Rabbit R1. I don't understand how that. What problem was that trying to solve? That's the scam.
Problem. That's the scam, right?
Everything that thing does already on my phone. I can just talk to myself. Hey, blah 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 blah, and it'll do it.
Is that what they told you though? That's not what they told you in the keynote though. The keynote was no, your phone can't do these things because our device is special and has special hardware AI technology, which it did not.
It's so weird. I don't know, man.
So check this out. We'll talk about the Humane AI pen second because I think the AI pen also costs $700, right? So it's way at a different price point. But the thing with the Rabbit R1 device is that there's nothing exceptional about it at all.
Nothing.
It is a low end. It is a low end Android device that they sell for I think it's $200, right? So they can sell it a lot cheaper than a cell phone because it's got last gen shitty ass Android hardware.
Is it? Is it only that cheap?
Yeah, it's super cheap. I want to say it's $200 or $300 maybe at the high side. And but here's the thing about it is right after it released, some dude and apparently it's super cheap too, the plastic and everything on it's super cheap. But apparently somebody dumped the software off of it because they realized it's just running Android. And keep in mind, they said that Rabbit, the CEO of Rabbit specifically said that it is running an AI-based operating system that is bespoke. And immediately somebody bought it and reverse engineered it. Was no, this is running like Android. It's literally their OS. What they call an OS is an app running on Android.
Large action model is cornerstone. This is some bullshit.
So the guy wanted to see, and I wish I could remember this guy's name because I love to give him credit. He was on. I read his whole write up and everything he had on X, or I should say Twitter because more people are going to recognize that still. So he said that he was able to dump the software from the device. So he basically jailbroke the device, got in there, got into Android, dumped the app, pulled the APK, installed it on another just bone standard Android phone with a bone stock camera, bone stock microphone, nothing exceptional, right? Yep. And the app ran and worked perfectly. It even communicated with their services. Yeah. So the dude was literally doing everything the Rabbit could do, but on a phone without using the Rabbit device, even though the CEO said that would be impossible because the Rabbit device had special AI technology in it.
No, and then the apps, the only apps that it can actually integrate with, or I think it's Uber, DoorDash, and I think there's only 4 of them. I remember somebody saying that they only have those are the only apps that it has actual direct interaction with. The others
none of them work. None of them work now.
Basically just automations like you could do on your phone.
Yeah, none of them work. They all say, sorry, this Rabbit is unavailable right now. So, and the reason is because all of these sites, when the Rabbit released and everybody bought them, the sites didn't want them, using automation on their sites because that creates problems for them, right? So they basically they put up CAPTCHAs. They put up CAPTCHAs. If they detected that they were being connected to by the Rabbit device, they popped a CAPTCHA. And they could not handle the CAPTCHA because, one, they're not doing anything. The only thing on nothing on the device is AI at all. All the device is doing is, and they verified this, all it's doing is calling scripts through ChatGPT 3.5 API. It's not even using ChatGPT4o. It's using the free, publicly facing ChatGPT 3.5, and that's why there's no monthly fee, right? It's not them going, out of the kindness of our hearts, we're going to let you use our servers for free forever. Yeah. They're literally just using a free service and passing it through their device.
I do have to say, I like the device. I think it's kind of neat. Just like the hardware part of it looks kind of cool. And
I don't like the form factor.
It's almost, I don't know. It's like this close to being where like I might, if this had a little bit, like just put fucking Android on it, right? Just a full on flat, whatever. Google's the most basic,
like as a tablet. Like if they sold it as like a tablet.
Like a little mini device that would still attach to like my watch and my earbuds and just basically be like kind of a trimmed down phone. Cause it's a nice little thing. I'd probably pick this up and have that in my pocket if I knew I was like going.
You're describing an iPod.
Almost, right?
Yeah, it's like it's an Android iPod.
I like the little wheel thing. I like the little button, and I think there's like the camera can like flip back and forth.
It flips around, yeah, and it's motorized. I did think that was kind of cool how it's motorized.
I do think the hardware is a pretty interesting in terms of like interaction and stuff. As like a simple like, okay, I don't want to bring my full chonky phone somewhere. Like say I'm going out for dinner and like in a show or something with my lady. Yep. I don't want to bring my whole phone with me, but like I still want to be able to get like my text messages and make my phone buzz and then I can like
big problem
voice to text or something.
Big problem.
Like, that would be kind of interesting.
It doesn't have a 3G or 4G or 5G transceiver. It uses your phone's internet connection over Bluetooth. So you have to have your phone.
Okay, then this little slot on the side must be for an SD card.
It's an SD card.
But okay,
so somebody correct me if I'm wrong, but when I looked at it looked like they said that it uses your phone's existing internet connection, because otherwise if it used like a 3G you would have to pay a monthly fee.
It is Wi-Fi compatible. It says supports up to 4G LTE data only cellular connectivity through a nano
it can do it. Okay,
slot.
so if you put a SIM card in it, it will do it. Okay, then fair enough.
Maybe even I pay for a separate data only line or whatever, right? I don't need a phone number for it. It could just do just for cell data.
You know what you should do?
That'd be kind of interesting.
You know what we should do is wait until now that this is public information and the company's like dying and trying to sell itself off. Wait until the company's absolutely like crushed to the fucking ground, and then we'll just buy these devices for $20 when they're liquidating them, and then we'll jailbreak them. We'll jailbreak and put fucking Android on it.
If somebody was selling one of these like on Facebook for $100 or something, I might actually snap it up. It's done by Teenage Engineering. That makes sense.
I think
Teenage Engineering stuff straight from them is so ridiculously expensive.
Wait, what is Teenage Engineering?
It's a company that makes some really interesting industrial design stuff. They made a PC case, like a flat pack PC case, but it's like $700 or something. It's like insanely expensive.
I mean, anything that's like low volume is going to be expensive.
Very cool looking stuff. The stuff that they make is like, there's an old
dude. Their URL is literally teenage.engineering. That is freaking baller,
very
dude.
Cool. There's an old school industrial engineer who used to make these really clean, very aesthetic looks, and they seem to have been inspired by that guy.
I didn't know these were the guys that made the OP1. That thing is amazing. Have you seen that? Here, let me link this. This is actually one of my favorite music devices.
I'm on their website
that I've seen. This thing, I didn't know they made this.
The OP1,
dude. This thing is. But see, the price? What?
Exactly. That's what kills me.
$2,000 for this thing.
That's what kills me. Is their prices for stuff is so crazy expensive.
Oh my god! I thought that was maybe like a couple $100s. It's I mean it's a MIDI. It's a really cool MIDI controller.
Where's the they did a PC case. It looks like that's Cisco or something.
Dude, that is just ridiculous.
Selling speakers and stuff now. Yeah, where's the Teenage Engineering?
This is horseshit. I'm gonna call horseshit on this one right here.
Computer One. Okay, this is way cheaper than I thought.
Look at this link right here that I'm putting in chat. So they're literally selling. Now it looks nice. But look at this itty bitty little tripod for $120.
Right,
you can buy that for $5 on Amazon right now.
Yeah, come on,
$5.
I think I have one of these. Like it came with my baseball microphones or something. Like this is dumb. It's a kind of Apple-ish in that sense.
What a joke. Okay, that I don't agree with at all. But my God, how? Okay, this isn't bad though. Okay, so the EP133. This one right here, this is like another music device. This thing's only like $300. Like I paid $300 for that for a sampler.
You can get the orange Computer One for $100. I might just buy this.
So why is some of their shit like ridiculously expensive for what it is, and the other stuff's just stupid expensive?
Dude, I might just buy this case.
Ooh, I actually want this. If anybody wants to buy this and send it to my PO box, I would love you forever. Dude, look at this boom box. This thing's awesome.
Oh, it's a speaker.
Did you see the speaker boom box thing that they have with the integrated battery?
Yeah.
So 40-hour rechargeable battery. It looks like 72 hours radio listening. How big is it? So 232 by 284 millimeters. Okay, so roughly, that's not as big as I thought. Never mind. I thought it was huge. Like it looks from looking at it, it looks like it'd be huge, but no, apparently it's not that big. There's a black one for $50 cheaper.
It probably is.
Okay, so they got cool shit. They do have some cool shit. It looks like they make
really, really cool industrial design. I like, and I'm not surprised to hear that they helped design this Rabbit R1.
Okay, $1,000 for a subwoofer with like a Sonos mid drive. I mean, for the industrial design and something that's like seamless like that, I mean, people would pay it. So yeah, wow, these guys have a really diverse set of products. Hey, could you take over for me for a second?
Sure.
I gotta go use the old bathroom. You know, old guy problems. I'll be right back.
Honestly, it's probably economies of scale. Honestly, they make these sort of one-off designs, and they probably don't make very many of them at a time. This is probably what it is. Because OP1 stand for overpriced, or a little bit, but very cool. I appreciate this kind of design aesthetic and stuff. It's really cool. It's really neat looking. Here's my smart speakers from like the 90s. Yeah, right. They also make small pocket operator synths for €79. Not bad. $1,500. Yeah, so it's kind of under. It was a little all over the place. Oh man. I'll sell you a $5,000 electric beard razor. Nah. I have no use for that. Looking for a new PC case, but not for their prices. $100 for an ITX case is actually pretty good. Or 100, even 150 for the silver one is a really good price for an ITX case. Like that's completely reasonable. I mean, you'll get a what's the NR200P? What is that going to run you? That's going to run you about $200. Maybe you might be able to get a used one for cheaper. $150 on Newegg for the Cooler Master NR200P. So that's right in there. Where should I sell my old graphics card besides eBay? OfferUp, Facebook Marketplace. There's a website called jawa.gg is a good one. Yeah, those are some places. So yeah, I mean, $100 to $150 for an NR200P. If you can find a Cougar QBX, that'll cost you about 60 to 70 US. 180 a good price for Fractal Design Define 7. That's retail. That's what they retail for. That's which is ridiculous to me. For a full ATX case like that shouldn't cost $180 in my opinion. Marketplace is the only reason I have a Facebook account. Yeah, pretty much the same for me. I don't post a lot there personally. Yeah. And don't accept PayPal. What is it? Some people will try and you're gonna get some weird scammers. Oh, my cousin is in the army or whatever, and I'm trying to buy this for him, and blah blah blah. Don't. If they even say anything like that kind of shit is just fake it. It's fake.
Sorry about that, bro. Six shots of espresso demanded 6 shots of. Well, I won't go there, but
yeah.
Oh man, that'll clean out the pipes on you. I usually don't drink even 4 shots, let alone 6.
This is what I mean about the AI stuff, or I guess how I don't know. It's. I would rather this
bring me up to speed. What?
We got on to other stuff. We were talking about Facebook Marketplace and prices for cases and stuff. But this AI stuff, man, it's all just the same hype as like Bitcoin in a way. I wish we could get away from this this like overhyped venture capitalist sort of stuff where the like I don't know, man. It feels like both the AI pin and this Rabbit R1 and a few others, they spin up these companies with the sole purpose of getting acquired. Like, you're not actually trying to build a business. You're trying to just like fund an idea long enough for one of the big tech companies to come in and buy you out.
Yep. It's just a cash grab.
I feel like that is not innovative, because what happens is then these big companies buy you out and you get your payday, and they don't do anything with it. Like, Twitter still owns Vine. If they wanted to, they could crush TikTok by just bringing Vine back, but they don't.
Why are there no repercussions for lying? This is the thing I don't get. Is like, there's truth in advertising, right? Like, the FTC actually has rules against lying to the public. All these companies lie. Tesla lies. They lie. Everybody lies and says they have a product that they don't have. They haven't even solved the problems at all yet. They're basically like, we created a replicator. Just buy this thing that says, oh, replicator unavailable. Just buy this. Like, did you hear, oh God, what's that streaming service that just like is going to just make their $99 streaming device like e-waste now? Oh, fuck, what is it? Spotify. So Spotify,
their other device, right? They called it. I think they called it other.
It's $100 streaming device that a bunch of people ran out and bought, and now they're discontinuing it.
Or your car or whatever, right? It's supposed to like get you Spotify on your older car or whatnot. Yeah,
they already have a cutoff date. They're like, after this date, it will not work at all. You can't use it for anything other than this once we discontinue the service. And they literally give you instructions on like how to find an e-waste company to take it, because it has no value. See,
that's so weird.
How is that legal?
That bugs me too. That goes to a lot of different things. Well, I've talked about this when it comes to video games, right? Like MMOs or these older video games. Why not? Why can't we somehow force them to let it go? You know, there's a bunch of people out there, like the 3DS. 3DSs are basically like the eShop for the Nintendo 3DS is gone now. Like, so you basically, if you don't have carts, then your 3DS can't do squat. There's no internet. You can't play with people online anymore. The whole thing is gone. And
hey, Pretoria said they got their money back for the car thing.
Well, that's nice.
Oh, rock on. Hell yeah. I heard a lot of people didn't though. And by the way, I just posted a link in chat to the article directly from Spotify. This is Spotify themselves saying car thing's discontinued. Car Thing is our first hardware product that allows users to control Spotify through car speakers when connected to a phone by using both voice recognition and preset buttons. Again, another thing that your phone could have just done without another device, right? We have made the decision to discontinue Car Thing. This means that Car Thing will no longer be operational. This decision wasn't made lightly, and we want to assure you that our commitment to providing a superior listening experience remains unchanged. We acknowledge and deeply appreciate the support and enthusiasm you have shown for Car Thing. It has been an incredible journey, and we are grateful for all the miles we've shared. First of all, if they're going to discontinue it, they should be forced by law to just crack it open, jailbreak it, and give it to you to do whatever the fuck you want with at that point.
Yeah, right. Like the Warner Brothers not scrapping, but shelving the what was it? The Wile E. Coyote versus Acme movie. It was finished, 100% done. It was done, ready for release.
Yep.
And they just say nope. They put it on the shelf and got like a $350 million write-off as a loss.
Yep. You know why else they did that? You know, I found this out. I watched a documentary on YouTube about this because there's lots of documentaries on YouTube that tell you everything true, and I'm sure I verified it. No, but take this with a grain of salt. But apparently, these movie companies, anytime they have a property, they have to show that they're using that property within a period of time. Otherwise, it's harder to defend legally when other people infringe on it. So what they'll do is they'll just put money into just doing the bare minimum to create what's required to show that they're still using the property, but they're not required to release it to the public. So there's so many movies that were just rushed and put together, like with bad post editing, bad scripts, purposefully short, like meeting all the minimum bars to make a movie just so they can stick it in the vault and say that they made the movie. They don't have to release it. They just have to show that they used the property. And there was a movie, I think it was like something in the Marvel or DC universe or something, where they created an entire movie and it's absolute DC, dog shit, and they didn't release it on purpose. What was it?
Batwoman.
Oh, it's Batwoman. Okay, yeah, where they like created the whole movie, but they purposefully made it shitty and never released it.
It was 100% done, and I think they were supposed to release it straight to Max, but they just decided not to. Oh, Batgirl, my bad. Yeah, Batgirl. Yeah, same deal. It was done. It was completely done, ready to go, and like last minute they decided not to.
So yeah, the death of Batgirl on Tuesday sent immediate shockwaves through Hollywood. The film with a $75 million budget. Okay, that's a lot bigger than the ones I've seen.
That's cheap.
That is cheap. That is cheap. But I'm talking like the throwaways that I've seen. They've taken like a property that's worth billions of dollars and literally made like a $20,000 movie just to say that they were still using the property, so that other people couldn't use it. Said, okay, so it had finished shooting months ago. It was in test screenings as the director and, let's see here, Bella Fala, Bad Boys for Life, Miss Marvel, worked through the post-production process. Star Leslie Grace had given multiple interviews expressing her enthusiasm for landing the title role. Could you imagine landing the title role of like a show that's that big, like Batgirl, like fucking, like, especially with superhero shit, and then they're like, we're just not going to show anybody your shit that you just worked on for years. Oh, that would piss me off so bad.
Yeah, I'd be upset.
It had fucking Michael Keaton in it? What?
Yeah, he had like a cameo as like a as old Batman.
Yeah, it
right?
said she was
Batman.
excited about working with her co-stars Michael Keaton and J.K. Simmons and Brendan Fraser. Are you shitting me?
Oh shit, I didn't know he was involved.
Yeah,
cool.
oh my god. It says, in other words, the movie was nearly finished and already building awareness among fans. Why would Warner Brothers kill it? According to sources with knowledge on the situation, the most likely reason, taxes. Several sources note that Batgirl was made under a different regime at Warner Brothers, headed by Jason Killar and Ann Sarnoff, that was singularly focused on building its streaming service, HBO Max. Oh, God, streaming services kill everything. The effort included Kilner's infamous decision to release the studio's entire 2021 theatrical slate simultaneously on the streamer, which helped build the subscriber base, but also jeopardized the studio's reputation with top-tier talent, because a lot of those talent they got paid for how many times it was shown in theater and how many tickets got sold. And when they just said, "Oh, they're not,"
the writer and actor strike was
they
all
fucking
about. They
robbed
weren't
them.
getting streaming money.
Yep. So there was what was the one that was it Fall Guy? No, not Fall. By the way, Fall Guy is really good. The new Fall Guy movie that just came out.
Man, highly recommend it. It was
absolutely loved
it. Blast from start to finish.
Dude,
super good.
So
very
good.
meta. Very meta.
Yep.
It's like it is looking itself in a mirror, and it is super cool. I loved.
They couldn't have casted that movie better either. Like the
100%.
perfect casting,
and all the funny little digs at like Tom Cruise and like these shitty stars who shouldn't be doing their own stunts and like putting people in danger and stuff. And it was
one of my favorite parts about the movie, and this isn't a spoiler. This is like at the very end. They show in the credits the actual stunt people that work, because it's a movie. It's a movie about stunt people, doing the job for the actors, right? Taking the fall for the actors. So then at the end of the movie, they show the actual people that took the fall for the actors, pretending to be the people taking the fall for the actors. So it was kind of cool. They did this whole Inception thing, right? Very cool.
Yeah, I love it. Yeah, I want to watch it again. It was so much fun.
So this is crazy. So they created Batgirl. They almost finished the entire movie. It has all these all-star casts in it.
Post-polish stuff. They were like 2 months away from putting it out.
And they didn't even put it on their streaming service. God, how pissed do you have to be if you're like Michael Keaton or Brendan Fraser? Like what? Well, Brendan Fraser, I know, has been trying to make a comeback, right?
Who was hoping to have like this breakout role as a big superhero movie, and now it just disappears. It's just gone forever.
Dude, it kind of makes you wonder, like, how many things are locked away that we will never see? Like, how many things have actually been produced and just stuck in a vault somewhere that we'll never see in our lifetime? Like, it'll be unearthed in like 200 years and digitized and be like, oh, wow, they made another Avengers movie that we never saw because of taxation reasons or something. I don't know. I don't see how you could possibly be better off financially by not releasing something you spent $70 million on than just releasing it.
As a loss. You get to write it off as a loss.
Yeah, but even writing it off as a loss, do you really think you're going to make less than that? Like if you did a theatrical release?
There's no way. If you put if they had put Batgirl on Max, they would have made their $75 million back.
That is so weird that they decided to do this.
$75 million? Really? That's cheap for a superhero movie. Cheap. In fact, more movies need to be made with smaller budgets like that.
That's actually true, because I think Avengers is like nearly $1 billion movie or something, isn't it?
Shows are like $100 million plus. Yeah. It's ridiculous.
Well, no, I want to say like fucking Avatar. Wasn't Avatar like $1 billion movie or something? Like it was up there. It was like in the high hundreds of millions.
It was huge. Yeah, it was like 275 or more.
How much was it? Let's see here. What is the most expensive movie to produce of all time? I want to say it was Waterworld for a long time.
Yeah, 460 million for Avatar 2.
How much?
Said without marketing, 460 million for Avatar 2.
$500 million to produce a movie? Oh my God! James Cameron does what James Cameron does, because James Cameron is James Cameron, apparently.
Here's some figures. Blah, blah, blah.
Pirates of the Caribbean on Stranger Tides, 456 million.
Yeah, okay.
Star Wars: The Force Awakens, 447 million.
That's so crazy.
$500 million.
Like that.
That is mind blowing.
Yeah,
And what's crazy, you know what's really crazy about it is that these movies are like 99% CGI. Like they're mostly CGI. And so I don't get why the costs are so high, because isn't the whole point of CGI is to bring costs down, not make them more?
Man, I don't know. Honestly, it's not. It's got to be the like render costs, like power and things like that. You know,
I know that
it's not paychecks, it's not labor.
What's the Pixar, right? So yeah. I know Pixar at one point, they said that like each frame of animation took like a month of computer time or something to render. Like for one of the movies, like
1995.
Yeah, it took like an entire render farm. Right. Today it's not going to be like that. Like I could probably render fucking Pixar movie in real time on my 4090, right?
Yeah.
But apparently, like back in the day when like, you know, SGI was the big name in the game and stuff, it took like huge amounts of power and time to render each frame of that movie. And so when you think it takes 30 or 24 frames a second or whatever, or well, actually for cartoons, I think it's less. I think they do like 15 or 20. But still, to render that many frames when each frame is taking, you know, a week of computer time, that's got to be super expensive.
Yeah.
So
it says here that Elemental, August 2023, Disney Pixar's Elemental was said to have a budget of $200 million, making it one of Pixar's most expensive films.
200. Well, actually, 200 million sounds like a discount compared to some of these Disney things.
You're right, pretty standard, really. Like, come on.
I mean, that's just wild. And if you look at the credits on these movies, it's nuts. It's like the credits will scroll for like 5 minutes. Like there's literally 1,000 people working on these projects, and you're like, why does it take 1,000 people to make a movie? It's like you have to have like the grip, and then you have to have like the grip supervisor, and then the grip supervisor, and then like craft services backup and third backup craft services.
One producer said it's way more difficult to embezzle money from a movie that has like a $10 million budget than one that has a $100 million budget. And really? I totally believe it. I totally believe it. Yeah, they'll just tack on $1,000 hammers and shit. I bet. And it's like they're probably slipping cash money to contractors and stuff. And it's because, come on, man, there's no way. The $200 million. Come on. Maybe initially,
it doesn't make
initial
sense
cost
to me.
for like the hardware and stuff. Like, okay, if this is the very first, like, okay, end game, sure. Makes sense. 250 million, right? They did a lot of new stuff on that. They're crazy over the top visuals and things. Gorgeous visuals. Like
they had scenes with like 100+ people on screen at a time.
The suits when they're making that walk to the little time portal
that's
thing,
mind blowing.
Those white suits,
yep,
fake. All CG. They're in real life. They're actually in like their superhero costumes. Their normal superhero costumes, and they painted over that. And that is some of the most perfect CGI I've ever seen.
What's crazy is if you look at the original footage, Thor has like his costume on that goes way outside of the lines of his body.
Yeah.
And they managed to still paint that in as the camera is moving, and you cannot tell.
Great stuff. Like,
I bet you that one scene was probably a big chunk of the budget of the movie.
Oh, for sure.
Like to just do that one scene.
Like frame by frame, and the roto on that must have been outrageous. People probably had to get glasses after working on that scene.
I will say, though, the technology should be bringing the cost of this shit down, not making it go up. Because, like, look at what you can do with green screen now. You don't even need a fucking green screen anymore. It is getting so good now that you can literally... Well, yours is a little iffy around the edges, but look how good it's getting.
I'm not doing anything.
Yeah.
Like, there's no green fabric behind me. That's local, and I'm doing a shitty job of it. And that's still pretty dang good. If I tried hard, if I closed up my curtains and I got decent lighting and a proper nice green fabric on the back of me, I could be anywhere and none of you would know the difference.
What I don't understand is why they don't do a fixed... So check this out. You can do something called a fixed green screen effect, where it basically takes a plate. Basically, you have it record behind you. So you step out of frame, record behind you, and then you come into the scene, right? And then it knows what the scene behind you looks like, or you can put your own picture there. And then all it does is paint the pixels that move. So if a pixel moves, it paints it. If a pixel doesn't move, it's transparent. And by doing that, you get a perfect cutout around you with like no artifacting or anything. I don't understand why none of these filters have that. I'm thinking about writing it myself, because it's like if the camera moves, it doesn't work. If the camera moves, then the whole scene will immediately come to light. Whereas with the way it's working with you, you can move the camera and it'll still have the green screen in the background. But if you want that sharp cutoff around you without having a green screen and you have a fixed camera, then all you have to do is just put a wiggle weight in on the pixels to say if they don't move past the threshold of like 1 pixel, like allow it 1 pixel so if the camera bounces if you hit the desk or something.
Oh, sure.
You can get a perfect cutout of you because it's only drawing the pixels over the background that are physically moving. And then once that pixel moves, it'll redraw that pixel each time. So and then you'd get a nice, sharp, perfect cutout. But for some reason they don't do that. For some reason they do this like really heavy-handed approach where they're looking at every frame and then like extracting the background based on focus. That's another thing you do, depth of field. Like if you take your camera and adjust it so that the background's blurry, the green screen effect works a lot better. Because what the green screen will do is like the AI will say, oh, anything that's out of focus is obviously not in the plane that we want to see. That's in the background. So it can help factor that out. If you have infinite focus, it makes it harder for it to do that. So you might want to try that sometime, like knock your camera down to like an f1.4 or 1.8 if you can do it with your lens, and see if that improves the green screen effect. But there's so if you have because that's how they do it in movies. Like in movies, if you ever see like where they're doing CGI effects, what they'll do is they'll take a clean plate, which is just a picture of the backdrop. Then the camera is either fixed or they use something called motion control where the camera moves the same exact way every single time so that every frame is exactly the same with the background. And then they'll do one where you're like running against a green screen or something, then they composite the two together. And then you get like this nice, perfect effect. But motion control is really expensive because the rig that you have to do it is stupid expensive.
It's getting a lot easier there too.
Yeah, but that's the thing is like AI fixes that now. Like, did you see what fucking DJI can do? Like, I don't like promoting DJI because DJI is like, they're a shitty company. They're a really terrible company. Really anti-privacy, really fucking in your face. We do what we want, blah, 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 blah. Very closed source, you can only use our shit the way that we bless you. You know, they'll intentionally kill their batteries on purpose just to make you buy more. They're shitheads.
Rude.
However, DJI owns the drone market for a reason. They are so far ahead of everybody else. It is fucking insane. Like, it is laughably insane how far they are ahead on technology. So people just tolerate them, right? One of the cool things that they can do now is you can set up this like little lighthouse tower thing. And it works with even the small drones. Like even the little tiny Pocket Mavic Pro can do it now. Where you set up this little tower and it improves the GPS from like a couple of feet to like millimeters. So that it can fly this drone, and then you can set a course for the drone, fly the path with the drone, and have the camera, and it'll do motion control in the fucking air. It will follow this path, gimbal stabilize, and make sure every frame is perfect together so that you can do one clean plate and then come in and do another one with an actor and another one with the actor. So I was watching all these things where it's like a guy appeared like 5 or 6 times on these one wheels driving a frame. I think it was Corridor that did this, where they just duplicated the guy riding in all different areas over the same thing with this motion controlled path. They just went back, did it again with him in a different place slightly. And it shows like 5 of the same guy all ripping dust, kicking up and everything. It all perfectly came together using motion control with a drone. And I was like, dude, when you can get to the point where a drone can be so precise in its flight path that, and it'll go through buildings. They do this thing where it's like you slowly fly it through the building and get like your camera angles, and then all you do is move the stick back and forth, and it's like it's on a wire. It'll rotate and turn and go in the window and out of the window, and you can change the speed at which it does it, and it'll always stay on the path. Isn't that crazy? Like it's doing that without being connected to a wire.
That's awesome.
So the shit is getting pretty amazing. And AI upscaling, hell yeah, Freddie. AI upscaling is getting insane. I have taken some garbage ass videos and threw them AI upscaling where they came out looking damn near flawless. So you can't overdo it. Like you got to be careful with the sliders. You get a little too carried away with the sliders, shit'll start looking overly sharp.
Yeah, right.
But some of the recovery that it's been able to do, like one of my favorite, have you guys seen the videos where they take like 18th century video, like when cameras were first created and they upscale it to like 8K 60 frames per second with color?
That's so cool. Yeah,
like,
I love that.
Dude, it's wild. Like if you just go to YouTube and just type let's see here, old video upscaled 4K. And let's see if I can find it here. I'll say like 1800 upscaled 4K. There we go. Yeah. So 1896 France pistol duel between 2 men, colorized and upscaled. This is just crazy shit, man. Like here, I'll copy this and paste it in so you guys can see it here. Oh, Histario, my man. Thank you for the $5. Hey. He said, "Hey guys, feeling good. Finally went to the doctor and it's helped so much. I'm finally feeling a sense of normalcy. I hope y'all are both doing well." Dude, that's awesome. I'm glad you finally got some help. They honestly can't do a whole lot for me other than just pain management, and I basically only get like half a month of pain management and then half a month of suffering. But hey, whatever. It's better than nothing, so I can't complain too much. But yeah, this AI upscaling stuff is crazy because if you go back to like the original video, you can't even like see the faces. Like the faces are too blurry, right? Because there just wasn't enough resolution there. the noise is so bad that, like, with the cutting of the film and just like so many like little missing artifacts and shit from the film degrading over time, that you look at it, it's like a bear in a snowstorm, and then they run it through this algorithm, and now it's like full color, super sharp edges. You can see the faces. Now, keep in mind that the faces that you're seeing aren't necessarily the faces of the people from that time. The AI is taking a lot of liberties to enhance like in the movies, right? So but again, you don't know what these people look like because they existed. They're dead. They're long dead. So it's like your brain accepts it as that's what they look like in this video. And anybody that looks at it's going to think the same thing because nobody's seen a video that has enough detail to show them different. So it becomes reality. And that's another one of those things that's kind of dangerous with AI, is if you see something that comes from AI before you see the original footage, there is a chance that you believe that the AI is the real thing and not necessarily the original.
Kind of surprised that guy actually shot him. He like turns his head away.
Yeah, isn't that wild?
Huh.
Yeah, oh damn. He really did shoot him, didn't he?
Oh yeah, he got him.
Holy shit. Okay, that ain't good. Well, actually, seeing that they're pouring him whiskey and like putting it in the wound
poured
and
on
stuff.
his chest. Yeah, I think he's dead.
Oh shit. Well, sorry for posting the snuff video, guys.
Well, because like they cut right as they're about to like try and feed him some of the whiskey or whatever, and so it's hard to say. Like they open in his eye.
Yeah.
They kind of like, you there, bud?
I mean, dude looks pretty out of it.
And then he reaches down with like some smelling salts, and then it.
Yeah, they used to, and I mean that's what happens when you really shoot a person and you hit him in the heart. That's what happens. They just go limp. They just fall to the ground. Like there's no like oh god it's like the hydrostatic shock. You just go limp. You're done. But dude, by the way, did you know that a lot of the duels that they used to do back in the day, like the duels to the death, were done with wax bullets, so they didn't kill each other?
Nice.
So apparently that was like an alternative route that you could take, like back in the day, is they were like, oh, we'll just use wax bullets, because apparently like dueling became a problem, after a while, because like people were just getting murdered left and right, and it's like that becomes an issue, right? So they're like, they wanted to keep the tradition, so they moved to wax bullets, and so there was a lot of duels back in the day where and apparently it hurt like hell, like it was way worse than like a paintball, but they'd shoot each other with wax bullets so that they wouldn't actually like penetrate and kill anybody with them.
Still hurt.
Oh, dude, that had to hurt like hell. Oh, my God.
Yeah.
Oh, dude. Okay, this has got to be one of the best ones I've seen.
Wow.
This is wild. Check this one out. This is mad because they show the original video. Like right when the video starts, you can see like the little postage stamp like shaking around like this with like massive noise in the background, a bunch of lines going through the video. And you're like, it's barely recognizable. And then it just switches to the up-res stuff. And it's like you can see...
It's like Technicolor, like early days Technicolor. It doesn't try and do it like modern saturation and color grade and whatnot. It's like it's got almost a Mary Poppins look to it.
100%. It's trying to make it look believable. Like it's almost like the AI knows from the period that's what it should look like.
That's what I was thinking. Like it'd only be another maybe 20 years before this is what color like would have looked like. 20 years forward. It says that this was done in close to 1900. Yeah. And like there were some kind of poor color photography and stuff not video at that point yet, but there was some like low level poor quality color coming out in the early 1900s, and it looked a lot like that. And so that's kind of cool that it must be sort of taking some inspiration from some of that color photography.
It has to. Yeah,
because that is, and that's another thing too. It's interesting. Where they'll do that, they'll like colorize old photos, because you can kind of. I mean, I know it's all done in black and white, but like you can kind of get an understanding of what the color should be, even from those old black and white like photos and stuff. And the world was way more colorful than we really think it was.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
All kinds of bright, vibrant colors for rich people and whatnot, usually more upper class at the time. But like, it was very bright, very, bold, bright, weird, funny colors and stuff. And we always seem to think that it's like, oh, all dark and dim and gray and boring. Like,
what's weird is there's this weird crossover point in technology when it comes to video, where it's like when we transition from film to digital, we kind of screwed ourselves because the digital stuff can't really be enhanced all that much. Like we can a little bit, right? But the film just keeps getting better. Like, have you noticed that? Like, there's films from like the 40s and 50s where they've taken it and they basically just run the original footage from through much sharper optics, and they basically create a digital like 4K. I mean, to up the frame rate, they have to use AI and stuff like that, but as long as they're keeping the original frame rate without any AI or anything, just using modern sensors and modern optics, they can take film that, had you been there when it released and watched it in the theater, it wouldn't look a tenth as good as it is or detailed as it is watching it today. Isn't that wild?
Oh, I know, right?
Who are you responding to?
Cute Oni-chan was like, that woman has a big butt for that time period. I was like, they would wear these bustles. So they're kind of a big, like a wire cage bulb to have them stick out like
that. They didn't have plastic surgery back then, so they had to like bolt on shit.
By this point, I think that kind of thing was starting to fade out of popularity. Bustles and big hoop skirts and things like that were fading out by this point. But
we've made a lot of progress.
The shot of those two ladies walking away from the camera, that they probably have some sort of padding or a bustle to pump that up, because those ladies are wicked thin.
So this is how far we've come as far as intelligence as human beings. Is back in those days, they used to take fucking lead, because lead could make white, like a really white paste. So they'd use leaded paste to make their skin look whiter, so it looked like they weren't in the sun, because you were considered royalty the less sun you were exposed to. So they would purposefully put like lead paint on their face just to look whiter.
Yeah,
like
I don't know, there was all kinds of stuff we were doing that we didn't realize was bad.
Remember the radium phase that we went through?
Yeah.
Oh my god, dude, the radium girls and shit.
Glow in the dark watches and
glow in the dark watches, but cosmetics.
I didn't know. They
put radium in cosmetics, even though it didn't do anything. Like the radium didn't actually improve the cosmetics. They just put it in there. Yeah, it's like, it feels so good. It's so smooth. Feel the radiation tingle on your skin. It's like, dude,
tells you know it's working.
Like, or remember the shoe sizers that they had at like every shoe shop?
The shoot boxing. Yeah,
it was an X-ray that used 200% more. Like, no, sorry, 200 times, not 200%. 200 times more radiation than a dental X-ray on your feet, just to show the skeleton of your feet so that they could size your feet for shoes. Crazy. So instead of using the old better method, which takes your flesh into account too, they would just stick you in this machine. You'd stick your feet in these holes. They'd crank on this X-ray that was so powerful that they didn't even use like a film and develop it. You literally physically look down into the machine as it's bombarding a freaking screen with rays, and you can physically see your bones like in real time. It was like a fluoroscope, but without a digital sensor. And God, they had those things for like 20 or 30 years before they finally were like, oh shit, we're radiating the crap out of people. We probably shouldn't have these anymore. But they still show up on the secondhand market all the time. And these machines have these emitters in them that can put out like insane amounts of X-rays. Although apparently you can still buy like right over the counter, you can buy shit that creates massive amount of X-rays. Like apparently that stuff's not super heavily regulated, because to create X-rays you don't need a super radioactive source. You can do it just purely from electricity. What did I watch? Was it Backyard Scientist that did the X-ray where he could take a picture of his hand, or was it? No, it was William Osmond.
I believe it. I mean, old school Nikola, there's a shot of his foot. He was making X-ray machines on his own. So
yeah, William Osmond made an X-ray machine. He literally bought an X-ray bulb off of eBay, like an actual legitimate X-ray bulb that creates the X-rays. Hooks it up to like his little makeshift power supply or whatever, puts a bunch of bricks around it, sticks his physical hand under it, and takes a picture with his cell phone, and you can see his bones inside. I was like, cool, dude, you got some balls on you, brother. But again, he's actually a pretty smart dude. Like, he plays it off like he's dumb in his videos, you know. But he's a pretty smart dude. I'm sure he knew exactly how much radiation exposure he was getting and how dangerous it was. Yeah. But the truth is, every time you get a medical scan or any kind of radiation, you're running a risk.
You could one or two X-rays is not that bad.
Here's the thing, though. It's all about exposure over time, and it is purely an odds game. You can literally get cancer from being exposed to a minor amount of radiation for milliseconds. You can also get bombarded by shitloads and survive without any cancer at all. Yeah. So it's purely like a lottery. You improve. Your odds decrease over time.
Smoke a day in your life, kind of thing.
But your odds do change. There's always people that can beat the odds. That's what odds are, right? You can have somebody that's 1,000,000 to 1 that still wins, but your odds degrade the more radiation you're exposed to. So the more CT scans you have in your life, the higher possibility you have. Like, you increase, by however many percent each time you get a procedure of your odds of getting cancer. it doesn't mean you'll get cancer. I mean, shit, there's even been people that have been like exposed to a lethal amount, like what has been classified on average as a lethal amount of radiation where they develop no cancer.
Yeah.
And it's like, I mean, that's rolling the dice and winning the lottery, but it does happen, right? Statistically out of the number of people. Like that one dude that had like the fucking proton beam shoot through his head or whatever that like melted half of his face and his eyeball and he survived. It's like who does that, you know? Or what was it, the Tickle the Dragon experiment or whatever, where it's like everybody that was within like 10 feet or whatever died like at a different time over time, like their physical distance from it determined when they died, basically.
Oh, damn.
But then there was like 1 or 2 people that survived that were like, okay, I don't think they developed a cancer, even though they were within an area that got exposed where the other people did develop cancer. Remember Chernobyl? Remember the people that were under Chernobyl swimming like under the reactors and shit with like that fucking like basically it was supposed to be a one-way trip and there's a good chance they were all going to die and none of them developed cancer and all 3 of them survived and lived a long life. Like just crazy shit like that, right? The Demon Core. Yeah, exactly. God, how dumb do you got to be, man? Seriously. Hey, look, I can use a screwdriver to separate these 2 things apart. If they accidentally fall together, we're all dead instantly. Although at least they got to see something cool before they died, which is a giant brilliant blue light that's unlike any other light produced by anything else. Apparently Cherenkov radiation apparently is a very beautiful thing. But if you see it, it usually means you're dead unless there's a lot of water between you and it or leaded glass. So scary shit. Gamers Unite said there's a movie about it and it's insane how they had to stay still in order to calculate how fucked they were. I mean, dude, there's all kinds of like crazy stories about do you remember the portable what is it, radio, what do they call them, radio something generators, radiological generators that Russia used to power outposts? They're basically just decaying radioactive material would generate heat, and then they would use the heat with a thermal electric generator, a TEG or whatever, to generate the electricity, and they'd use it for like running radios and stuff. So apparently Russia built like shitloads of these things, didn't keep track of them, and then just let them just rot out in the wilderness. Like people were just stealing them and they were just getting dismantled in the woods, and people were like recycling the metals and stuff from them. And so there was people that would just find this shit, like find a hot rock laying out, like smoldering in the snow, and they'd pick it up and stick it in their pocket because they're like, oh man, it's warm. And then they die like a couple days later. And that's how they'd find these things. That's how they found these generators that weren't accounted for. They'd find them by just listening for people dying of radiation poisoning within a small area, like a couple people would die. And they'd be like, ooh, let's go figure out why they died. And what's the commonality? They all had contact with this rock. You know, and then they go look at the rock and they're like, oh shit, that's cobalt 60. Like these fucking guys, were fucking holding something that killed them. You know, 10 minutes of exposure, they were already dead. They just didn't know it. And, but yeah, apparently Russia was just like willy nilly just building these things and just like send them to everybody. Like you could literally be a nobody, you know, sitting up at an outpost somewhere and they'd be like, oh shit, we'll give you, you know, this radiation generator. Because I mean, it was safe when it was built. Like it's encased in like a giant lead core with heat sinks, and the thermoelectric generator and electronics are on the outside. So as long as you don't physically open the core, it's perfectly safe. However, because they weren't accounted for, they just got like thrown in dumps and just left out in the woods and shit. And then the water would rust away the material until it would get to such a state that somebody could come by and break it open. And you know, get the crispy nougat out of the inside, and then the shit would be like, oh, you're all dead. Crazy shit. Oh, that's also a Star Trek TNG episode. I do remember that. Where the people found the radiological shit and they started getting like, what was it, like lesions and stuff on their face and stuff? Because I think they found like a piece of dilithium or something that was like super radioactive. I loved how Star Trek The Next Generation was like, you know those teen sitcoms that they had, like when we were a teenager, to teach you like a lesson? Like head of the class or something like that, and there'd always be a lesson about drugs or something at the end. TNG was like that for nerds, right? Like our public service announcement at the end, it wasn't G.I. Joe, right? That was for the meatheads. For the nerds, we had like TNG that's like, oh, we're going to teach you the dangers of radiation by having like, you know, fucking Spock get, you know, melted by a dilithium chamber. Right. You know, that'll resonate with those guys for sure with the ponytails. Yeah, Wrath of Khan, exactly. Yeah. Khan! And then in the later movie, they switched it around, so it was Kirk instead of in the J.J. Abrams movies. The reboot one, yeah. That was pretty cool because that was technically cool. Wasn't that an alternative universe though? Like that actually did kind of work. Timeline. Yeah. I like that. That was cool. So earlier we talked about the AI scams with like the Rabbit R1 and the Humane, AI pen. You were saying that like you did like the idea of the projector on the Humane AI pen. Like that was kind of it's gimmicky as fuck and doesn't really work.
General idea. I don't think that's a good way of accomplishing it.
No, not at all.
And it's not. I'm always going to be very I think the term bullish on glasses. I think that's the way to go for any sort of
personal privacy, non-intrusive, doesn't scare people. Yeah,
XR, AR sort of stuff. Glasses is going to be the way to go.
I agree.
I'm all about it. I like some of these. My printer's doing something. Instead of like these big chunky VR glasses and stuff, everybody should be dumping a bunch of fucking effort into AR glasses, Google Glass style, or not even like the Meta Ray-Bans or whatever. Not even like that. I'm talking something that is going to paint information on your viewport, on your view.
Yeah.
If I punch in fucking map directions on my phone, I want a line painted on the sidewalk.
I like the idea of retinal projection. That's the stuff that's really grabbing me.
I don't need anything beamed into my eyeballs.
Well, you're already getting beamed into your eyeballs. If the photons don't go into your eyes, it doesn't matter if they're shot directly from something or bounced off a lens.
As long as it doesn't hurt my eyeballs. Like
no. So check this out. There's a company that has been developing this technology. There's a couple companies actually, but I got to try it at CES. When I went to CES years ago, there was a booth that was demoing a technology. It's like VR glasses that you put on, but instead of projectors projecting onto a prism, and then going back into your eye through pancake lenses or whatever, you basically have the projectors beaming right into your eye, and it uses your own eye, like your own surface of your eye as the lens. So, so it's basically projecting the light like at a much lower intensity because you're not losing it through the lenses or bouncing it off and shit. It projects it in your eye, but what it does is it uses an algorithm that distorts the image so that once it goes through the lens of your eye, because it's conical, right? It's like concaved instead of so when it goes through, it basically reconstitutes the light into a focused picture. So so now you don't have to deal with lenses, you don't have to, but you do have a sweet spot problem, right? That seems to be all the problem with VR is you have to be in that little sweet spot for everything to be nice and sharp. But I will say the Quest 3 really nailed it. Like I used my son's Quest 3 the other day, going back and forth between my Quest 2 that I have. I normally use a Quest 2. But his Quest 3, I was like, the Quest 2 is great bang for the buck. Honestly, if I recommend any VR headset that just checks all the boxes, especially money, it's the Quest 2 all day long. The Quest 3 is way too expensive, in my opinion.
Okay.
But the Quest 2, unless you're doing AR stuff, if you want to do the AR stuff, the Quest 3 is pretty much your only option because you get the color and everything like that. And the color pass-through is actually really, really good if you've got a lot of light. Okay. But the cool thing about it is the sweet spot is huge. When you stick it on, you can shift it around like this much on the Quest 3 and everything stays tack sharp. On the Quest 2, it's like you fucking bump it, or like even worse is the PSVR. Have you tried your PSVR yet?
I don't have VR.
Oh, you don't have VR. You just have the PlayStation, right? The PlayStation 5. So I got the PlayStation VR and for Gran Turismo. And if you get it right in the perfect sweet spot and you lock it down hard on your face, it is one of the best VR headsets I've ever used. The color from the OLED,
cheap, right? It's like $200.
I think it's pretty expensive actually.
I thought PSVR was pretty cheap.
Apparently they're bringing it to the PC too. I just don't know when. Let's see here. PlayStation VR 2 is $549.
Oh snap! Okay, yeah, the OG one I'm seeing on Amazon, 163.
So given that price, I would get a Quest 3. I would get a Quest 3. Yeah, 549.
Two that's coming
on Amazon and Best Buy.
Yeah, I mean, I'm kind of with Jake here. He says I think VR is a waste. It was projected to be adopted so broadly, and in my experience, it's because they haven't found the thing that makes it necessary. Like a lot of it's been kind of gimmicky and more game leaning.
Yeah.
There hasn't been a real reason for the general consumer to adopt it. It's a lot like 3D TV back in 10 years ago or something. It was cool, and I do think that it was like a step forward in display technology, and I'm probably sure it opened a lot of doors in terms of like technological advancement, but it didn't have a hook. There isn't a reason for my mom to go buy VR, right? There's plenty of reason for my mom to buy a cell phone and a bunch of other, devices that got picked up. But there isn't really a reason for the general public to just buy VR headset. It's expensive, it's bulky. Too many people get motion sickness and can't really it doesn't.
Once somebody gets motion sick, they'll never try it again either. That's the other big problem.
Yeah, man.
They'll never try it again.
Experience. And that's why you're not seeing a lot of the Apple Pro stuff going. I mean, it's $4,000 too, but
yeah, that hurts it.
There's no hook. There's no real need for it. And I think that's going to be an issue until it gets smaller, cheaper, and integrates better with augmented reality. If the whole reason cell phones and stuff got to be so popular is because it augmented your life. It enhanced it and made it easier and better and things like that. So if I could have a set of glasses, and even if they were kind of chunky or heavy duty, a little beef, like some thick edges or something, that I could then maybe you close a little shutter and now it's VR and I open the little shutter and I can see through and have all I look at a restaurant and I can see the menu painted out or that kind of thing. There isn't quite enough there yet to enhance a person's experience and life. And so it's just not widely adopted. It will. I do think VR will be.
For me, it has. For me, it's absolutely met that bar. But I understand why it hasn't for the greater majority.
If I could just have a thing on my desk that looked like Geordie LaForge visor, I could just put it on, and now I have a 165-inch screen in front of me, and it weighs the same as me wearing a pair of eyeglasses.
Yep.
That would be everybody'd buy one, even as a gimmick. If it was just that easy, everybody'd buy it for $200-$300 even.
I use VR almost every day. Almost every day I use VR.
So I probably would too, honestly. There's some stuff that I that's why I'm really interested in some of these XR glasses. From some of these guys where it basically gives you a big giant screen in front of you.
Yeah.
At 120 hertz or whatever. I really want to play with some of that.
For me, it's depth perception. Cool. So depth perception is a big one for me. Like, for instance, now that I play Gran Turismo 7 in VR, I can never go back to screen. Never.
That's gotta be so freaking cool.
Literally, even when I play Gran Turismo with my controller laying in bed, I still put on the VR headset because playing it with the screen, you don't get that depth perception. You have to look at certain marks and stuff to figure out your breaking points. Yeah. Whereas in the VR, it's perfectly natural. Just like you would in real life, you can judge distance just looking at stuff. It
would be racing games, Elite Dangerous, and I think a few FPS. I think FPS I'm usually pretty good when it comes to motion sickness.
You need Dramamine for Elite Dangerous. Even I do, and I don't even get motion sick.
I can read while I'm driving and things like that, or while somebody's driving, things like that. It's gotten a little worse as I've gotten older, but not real bad. And so I think a proper first-person shooter would be too much, but like a flight sim or Elite Dangerous, because I don't do the 6 degrees kind of thing. I have it set to where it resets you to the plane. Those sorts of stuff I think would be so freaking cool. That would be amazing.
One of my favorite experiences, but it's just super GPU heavy. It's not an experience you can just throw a headset on and just do, is Flight Sim 2020.
Okay.
Flight Sim 2020 with really high end HMD or your VR headset. If you have a really high end headset with a lot of resolution, you literally feel like you get butterflies in your stomach just like you're flying. Like you feel the turbulence, you feel the environment. You look around and you feel like you're in a big wide open space.
That's got to be so cool.
And that's what I love. That's what I really love about VR is you can be in a small space. Like it really helped me with cabin fever. Like when I was really feeling cooped up in my house and I was getting really stressed out, I downloaded this game on Quest called Gone Fishing, and it's just this cheap little game. It's like $9, just a fishing game, right? Yeah. And I could be in my room and I'd feel closed in. I'd start feeling a little claustrophobic because I've been in my house for weeks, especially during COVID, right?
Yeah.
So I was getting a little antsy. And so I'd go sit in my bed, I'd put on my headset, and then I'm in this big wide open environment with like birds chirping, a lot of sound, it makes it feel like it's a bigger environment than it is. Same thing when I was on airplanes. When I traveled on airplanes, I'd sometimes feel claustrophobic. I'd feel like if there's a lot of people around me and the air wasn't very good and it was kind of hot and muggy in the plane and stuff, I'd start feeling a little closed in, right? So I'd put on like Epson Mavarios, right? I'd bring my Epson Mavarios, and now I've got this huge theatrical screen that's 60 feet away from me, simulated. And I can watch a movie on it, and now I'm not I don't feel closed in. Now I feel like I'm in a big auditorium. And then if you have like a Quest, it's even better. Like if you're on an airplane, and you're in a Quest, you just disable the accelerometer or whatever, so you're not flying out the back of the airplane. But then like watching movies and stuff like that, it's nice. You have a huge screen. You're in a massive theater. The way the sound's bouncing off the walls if you have in-ear monitors or headphones, you don't feel like you're in an airplane. Like you feel like you're legitimately in a different wide open area, and the depth perception plays into that. And you can't advertise that to people. Like you can't explain that. Like you can show somebody a game, right? A 2D game in a video, and they're like, they can see exactly what it's going to be like. VR, you can't do that. Even when you show them through one of the eyes, or even if you show them like a stereoscopic image, unless they have a VR headset on, they don't know what that experience feels like. And so I feel like that's why it's such a hard sell, is most people don't have access to even try VR in the first place, right? Because of the cost of entry. If they did try VR, they probably tried it when it was early on and there was a lot of motion sickness and there was a lot of ghosting and a lot of screen door effect and stuff like that made it not so pleasant for a lot of people, right? Like I'll even admit the first VR I ever tried was the HTC Vive, and I was absolutely blown away by it. I was like, holy shit, but I got a little nauseous after, playing for 15 or 20 minutes.
Sure.
Now you fast forward to today, it's like with a Quest 3, it's like zero nausea. Zero. Nice. The only time I ever get any nausea at all is if I'm playing roller coasters and I'm looking around like this. Then I can get a little nausea, right?
Yeah.
But they fixed the nausea problem largely. It still affects some people, but way better than it used to be.
Better and better.
Yeah, so it just keeps getting better and better, right? But you can't advertise that to people. And it's just like, how you go to a restaurant, you eat something, you get food poisoning. It takes you a long time, if ever, to go back to that restaurant again. You're just like, ugh, Same thing with VR. It's like if your first experience with VR is bad and your friend's like, hey, check this out, man. He puts on like advanced roller coaster simulator after he's been doing it for years, right?
Right.
And now you're like, you never want to put that on again. And then anytime anybody offers a better experience down the road, you're like, no, I tried that. No, I'm not going to fall for that again.
Which is lame. Like, look, I tried VR back when I was a kid, okay, in like 1994 or something.
Same.
And it was cheeseball looking lawnmower man stuff, okay?
Had to hang from a strap on the ceiling because it was so heavy it'd break your neck.
Yeah. Gauntlets that went up to my elbow and stuff because I was like 8 at the Pacific Science Center. And okay, if I had just let that be my only experience, then I'd never have tried it again. And like even I tried the original, I think it was the Vive DK1 at work, and that was 10 years ago almost now, which that was an immersive experience and really incredible for being like one of the very early entries into like modern VR. It was amazing. But if I'd let that be my only experience and then just like, oh no, that's lame, you gotta taste. Just every once in a while, I try olives, and I still hate them. But every once in a while,
the first VR I ever tried actually had CRTs in the headset.
Oh,
like the eyes were literally like it literally had a thing out in front of you like this big that was like the CRTs. The field of view was like looking like through little itty bitty like binoculars. The graphics were wireframe, and it ran at like 3 frames a second, which makes you really sick. Lower frame rate and more motion sickness, bad. Right? So and it was like, I think we were driving like tanks and trying to shoot each other in like this like weird wireframe mesh map, and we were sitting in a chair because you couldn't even stand, like you'd just fall over, right? And you had to lower this thing down onto your head. And I remember playing that and I was like, this is so cool, but I was like heaving my guts out after like 5 minutes. Like it was so bad vertigo. And but now by today's standards, it's like it's a completely different experience, like completely different. I even remember when I went to this would have been 2004 when I went to Disney World to get married. We went to this place called Fantasy Island at Disney World. It's basically like a place for adults, right? It's like the adult part of Disney World, where you can go to like clubs and drink and stuff like that. It was like the party place. And so one of the things they had there was a VR thing where you basically stand in this like little closed in area with there's like 18 slots or whatever, and a thing lowers down from the ceiling onto your head, and you got 2 controllers that you hang on to, and you basically are playing like paintball in like it's like an arena first person shooter. And I remember playing that, and I couldn't even stand it for 5 minutes. Like I was like heaving my guts out sick and took it out. I was like, I can't do this. And it even had signs everywhere that was like, if you're sensitive to nausea, if you feel any nausea, stop immediately. It had a stop button that you could push, like that was right in front of you that you could feel, the bailout button. And because like everybody was heaving, and I swear in the game that I was playing, all I heard the entire game was people just like hurricane guts, and they had like trash cans right there so you could pull the headset off and go and throw up because so many people threw up doing this. And I was like, holy shit, how can they even market this? Like literally every group had at least 1 or 2 people that were heaving their guts out before the end.
Yeah.
But I had to try it, right? Because it was VR. It was the future. And that was in 2004. Now you fast forward to 2024, 20 years later, and it's like, now I can put on this tiny little device that's battery operated, completely wireless, not connected to anything. I have a massive field of view, amazing resolution, no screen door effect hardly to speak of, right? these amazing controllers that are also wireless, lightweight, and track, and can even tell where my fingers are at orientation of the buttons with little sonars and stuff. And I'm like, you can get into this for like a couple of $100. And it's like, back then, that setup that I used was probably $20,000, $30,000, $40,000 per unit to run that. And it's like, so if you look at that in 20 years, what's VR going to look like in 20 more years?
Exactly.
Like,
yeah,
dude,
that's what I mean. It's going to be
right?
Cool.
Because right now, aren't we currently outpacing Moore's Law?
Not really. Because that's about transistors, right? The number of transistors doubling every couple of years or whatever.
I guess it is specific. I thought it was more specific to like processing power, like perceived processing power. That's how it's
been kind of like interpreted, or it's kind of twisted a little bit. And in that sense, then no.
Because if you look at GPUs, it's like it's insane.
Look at the graphics cards. Yeah. The 3090 to 4090 or whatever is not as big a jump as the 1080 to the 2080. It's slow. The generational leaps have been smaller and smaller.
If you go by percentage and you go by overall processing, but if you go by specialty, like ray tracing, for instance,
I guess in that sense,
thousands of times faster.
I think that's more on the software side. Really, we're able to we're getting better optimized. Excuse me, better optimized software. We're able to like with Nanite and stuff in Unreal Engine. We're able to like process things differently. It's less of a brute force, and we're like getting better at sort of the trickery and whatnot when it comes to like polygons and scanning and that kind of a thing. Yeah.
Look at even like Unreal 5 though. Like when I look at Unreal 5, it's like the environment that you can render in real time with one GPU. Now, be it an very expensive GPU, but a single GPU in a desktop computer. The visuals that you can create, like even in VR, like you can have a stereoscopic 60 frames per second VR experience that looks photorealistic, like absolutely photorealistic with like a destructible environment, physics, all this stuff happening with just a regular desktop computer with a high-end GPU in it. And it's not even the highest end GPU. It's like if you spent $80,000, you could put like one of the, or $30,000, you could put one of those A100 or whatever units in there, right? Yeah. With like 80 some gigs of VRAM or whatever and all the best tensor cores. But just like a 4090, you throw that in there and it's like when even going back, let's go back 4 years. Just 4 years ago, Flight Sim 2020 came out. And there wasn't a single computer on Earth that could run that thing at even 30 frames per second at its highest graphics settings. Not even close. Right. Like even if you had 4 of the highest end professional graphics cards of the day, as many cores as you could throw at it, you could not run that thing at over 30 frames per second in its max resolution. Now you fast forward to today and it's like I can be in VR with 3/4 of the max settings and get over 100 frames per second in VR. Looking around, that's just 4 years that have passed, right? And it's so then I think about it, I'm like, oh man, okay, so let's say another 4 years passes, right? And now you got each generation comes out, every 2 years? Is it every 2 years a new generation drops pretty much?
Yeah, something like that,
So you got let's say we got 49, so 6 series. So now we're at the 660 series GPUs. And it's like, by that time, I have to assume that we'll not only be doing like 120 frames per second, like per eye in VR, we're also going to be doing that with ray tracing enabled and with fucking 16K per eye. And at that point, now the PPI is so small that you're just like, it's real life. Like, it's imperceivable. And I already feel like VR is largely like that. Like, one of the greatest experiences that I've ever had in VR, and I can't stress this enough. First off, I want to say PSVR 2 is too expensive for what it is. The only people that I would ever recommend buy a PSVR 2 is if you play Gran Turismo. That's it. If you don't play Gran Turismo, you are way better off just buying a Quest 2 or a Quest 3. 100%. Don't even waste your time. No joke. Right. However, if you do play Gran Turismo 7 on the PlayStation 5, which is the only place you can play it, and you've got yourself a nice driving setup with a wheel, you get your wheel and your gas pedal and your shifter and everything, the PSVR is the greatest VR experience I've had. And it's a mix of hardware and software. But the way that it does light, the way OLED screens produce light, because it's producing it directly from the pixel, is emanating the light versus going through masks and stuff like that. It looks so realistic that when I'm playing Gran Turismo and it starts becoming dusk, like during a race, the sun starts going down and you get a sunset. The light that comes from that sunset looks so photorealistic and looks like it's coming from the sides, from the back, reflecting. It is so realistic that your brain is tricked for a second thinking it's real. I've been racing before, And
Man,
that game,
cool.
even after all this time that I've spent there, because even last night I raced for like 2 hours. Last night, my family they lay in bed and cheer me on while I'm like going through and doing all the races and stuff. And so I get in there, and it's like when that sunset happens, where it's night and I'm racing at night, and a car comes up behind me with headlights on. The way that my brain is so convinced that the light is coming from behind me and reflecting off like a mirror or the front window of my car, that it tricks my brain into believing it's real. Like I literally get butterflies in my stomach, like the sense of motion, like I'm driving. And I think that that's amazing. Like if they could create a setup that reproduced that same level of realism as I get with those moments at like dusk and with like, you know, ambient light coming from behind you. If they could get that all the time across the whole spectrum of light, where it always felt like that. And then you combine that with like Unreal 5 level graphics, dude, that's Oasis. You've achieved the Oasis at that point. You are Ready Player One 100%. And I don't think we're that far from it. I think we're really on the cusp of it. Like I think that's within the next 4 or 5 years. I really do think that Ready Player One will be a reality. If
they can just miniaturize it a little bit, because like the real like hill to get over is it has to be lightweight enough that you stop realizing you're wearing them. That's what I mean. Like you wear a pair of glasses,
check this out. Look at the link that I just put in chat. I don't know if you've ever seen these, but they're fucking amazing. They're expensive. That's why I don't have them. I wish I had these. And
this looks familiar. Yeah.
They weigh nothing. These things weigh absolutely nothing, and they're custom fit to your face. They literally build them for you. Like you can't share them with your friend. They're built for you. And apparently, I've never tried them because, again, you can't really share them, right? It's one of those things where they're custom made for each person. But they weigh nothing. Apparently, the way they sit on your face, they don't make your eyes sweat or your face sweat at all. There's no, when you move your head around, there's no mass to jar around or move around. So it literally just feels like you're wearing, what do they call it? Not cricket goggles. What is it like where you hit the ball against the wall, racquetball? Squash or whatever. Yeah. Basically, it feels like you're wearing like squash goggles, right? There's no weight on your face. And apparently that feeling of having no weight on your face combined with when you get it in the sweet spot, it's so perfectly customized to you that you just forget you're wearing them. And you just get fully immersed. And everybody I know that's tried these has had the same experience where they're like, yeah, there's some fringing around the edges. And if you really look and pick it apart, like there's some things that aren't so great about it. But the light, the quality of light that is hitting your eyes and the type of light it is and the way it feels on your face, that just all mixes together to give you like this perfect experience.
Yeah, like once you're like if you're sitting there and you're purposefully removing yourself from the experience and you're like looking for something to pick on it, then of course you're gonna notice. But if you just jump in and you start playing Skyrim VR and you're just, I mean, for $1,000, that's not horribly unreasonable.
It actually came down quite a bit. It was $1,500 at one point.
It's wicked expensive, right? Like I didn't even drop that on my nicest TV I've got, you know?
Right.
But like that is not unreasonable, especially when you look at something stupid like the fucking Apple Vision Pro at $4,000. That's outrageous. When you can do this instead, this looks amazing.
You could literally buy this and an ultra high-end gaming PC with a fucking 4090 in it for less than the Apple headset. The Vision Pro,
like and get a better experience all around, in my opinion. But I mean, I imagine because this looks amazing.
I really want to try this because everybody I know that's really done it says that it's a whole nother level. Like, and apparently you have to be in this like super sweet spot. Like if you even shift them just a tiny bit, it'll blur. Like you have to be in this pinpoint sweet spot with these. But because they 3D scan your face, they create this foam rubber interface that literally locks it to your face that doesn't want to move. So it basically like it's gripping onto your face so that so once you get the sweet spot figured out, it's like unless you bump it with your hand or hit it with your hand, it'll stay put no matter how violently you're moving your head around. And so I really want to try this out. This is one experience. I keep getting heavier and heavier headsets. Like I have right now, I have a Valve Index, Quest 2, Quest 3 is my son's, but he lets me use it when I want to. I have the Vario Aero. So that's this bad mama jamba. Come on, get up here. So this guy right here. So that's a Vario Aero. They don't make them anymore. They discontinued it. I don't know why. Vario, like I'm actually just completely perplexed why they discontinued this because it has automatic IPD. You don't have to fuck with IPD. It literally looks at your eyes with cameras and adjusts it. And so it's got a decent sweet spot in it for flight sim. This is like you can't beat it. Like for flight sim, this thing is just insane. But the downside is it takes 2 display ports out of your graphics card to cover the full resolution. Yeah, because it's like 93 pixels per inch or something with like a massively wide field of view. But, you know, super comfortable, but heavy. It is a heavy headset. Like, you do notice it on your head. But I will tell you this, man, if you wanted to sell VR headsets, like if you wanted to just like completely sell them out and have them like completely take over the market, you need to find a way for people to experience VR porn, because they would just be gone.
Right.
I'm not, no joke. Like everybody would just buy one, because first of all, it's a really awkward experience. Like at first you're like, whoa, this is just fucking weird. Everybody I've ever even introduced to it, because I'm just like, my friend Greg once was like, oh, you know, what kind of stuff can you do in VR? I was a game. He's like, not interested. I was like, oh yeah, and you can watch porn. He's like, wait, what? You watch porn in VR? I was like, no, you don't just watch porn in VR. You're in it. You're like, you're the character. Like, what? No, you just got to try it, bro. Put it on. What the? I mean, that's the response you get from everybody. It's like, holy crap. But again, you can't convey that experience to anybody. They would have to experience it, because there's no way to really convey it without it just being a 2D video if you're representing it on a 2D display. So there's no way to like really show it. But it's like, you have to realize that with VR, you have 6 degrees of freedom that's perfectly aligned, right? Like where you're moving around, no lag, right? At all. So you have positional awareness. Now they can even do like depth of field stuff, which is what they're experimenting on with the next generation of VR, is where you can actually focus your eye, where it's not just infinite focus of everything. Because that's another thing that makes VR a little non-believable, is that everything's always in focus all the time.
Sure. Yeah.
So exactly. Yeah. And so one of the really cool features that there's only 2 things I have to have this feature, and that is the PSVR 2 and the Vario Aero. It's called foveated rendering. Okay. And what foveated rendering does is has eye trackers built into the headset that look at where you're looking. It knows exactly where you're looking at the screen so precisely that you can literally just look at a spot and it will actually pinpoint light up the pixel that you're looking at. That's how good it is. And so it knows where you're looking. So what it does is it renders that place where you're focused, like this much of the scene, in like the full highest resolution, and then it falls off as it goes out to lesser and lesser resolution. And you don't notice. You don't notice. If you record it and play it back on a 2D surface, then you see it's all pixelated and shit on the outside. But when you're actually playing, you can't notice, because every time you change your focal point, it's now rendering that faster than you can even move your eye. It's already rendering. Like as your eye's in transit to that location, it already knows where you're going, and it's already rendering the frame sharp there. And so by doing that foveated rendering, it allows you to get like way more precise, sharp imagery with a really high frame rate without using a lot more processing power. And so, but because it can track your eye like that, you can also do artificial focus. So like if it sees that I'm looking at something off in the distance, it can now blur the foreground and sharpen the background to give the same effect as my eye focusing. Or if I look at something that's close to me, now it can blur the background and it can sharpen the foreground based on how much light is present. And so what's weird about that is my eye wouldn't be doing the effect, but my brain would be interpreting as if I was.
Yeah.
So I'm like, shit like that is getting like really, really cool. But now they're also they're doing this multi-plane optic thing where they're creating these displays where it's like layers of light that comes at your eye. And then you basically, as you focus your eye, you're focused on a different layer of light. And then that's sharp, but everything else goes blurry. And it's your actual eye doing it. It's not the display itself.
Oh, nice. Cool.
And so once they start being able to do stuff like that, that's going to lend to that effect of it being more and more realistic and more believable. And then once they get the field of view so big that you don't see any edges, right? There's no perception that you're wearing goggles or binoculars or whatever. Once they get it that wide, I think that's going to be where, dude, it's just reality. Like you put that headset on, you just disappear into it and you just forget you're in another place, you know?
Yeah, man.
And the only way it's going to get there, though, is if people, if people give it a try. Like people need to stay interested in it. People need to try it every once in a while and give it another chance, and not just write it off because of one bad experience.
Yeah.
And sadly, I see a lot of people doing that. Hey, as far as AI, how many people in chat? Show of hands here. Show of keyboards. How many people have played with GPT4o? By the way, I put in GPT4o. It needs to be GPT4o. Let me fix that really quick. Messing up my title of my own video here.
I have a little bit.
So GPT4o, boy, it's actually a big leap forward. I've been seeing a lot of people talking shit about it, saying, "Oh, it's not that big. It's much of the same." Blah blah blah. No, I don't think so.
I mean, I haven't done anything too crazy with it yet, so I reserve some judgment.
I've written probably 10 or so Python scripts now with it that all did exactly what I wanted them to do with minimal effort. And with GPT-4, remember not to be confused with 4O, the letter O, not the number 0, right? So, so 4O, and I don't know why they named it that. They're being confusing now, like Microsoft and Xbox Series X and shit. So, but GPT-4 did have a lot of coding errors. And so I moved to Claude. Claude 3 Opus was my new favorite coding model. But then I tried GPT4o, and I was shocked at how good it was with programming. Like, I gave it tons of tasks. I was writing a bunch of network utilities for like scanning my network and doing port scanning, writing programs that would control my automation, like to find automation devices in my house of various different manufacturers and activate them and pull information from them and stuff. And the code that it was writing was largely functional right off the bat without having to do a whole bunch of back and forth. And I was legitimately shocked by that. Like, I just kept asking questions. I was like, okay, write me a program that'll find and turn on every automation device in my house. And it just did. It found the Belkin. It found the TP link. It literally was like port surfing all the different automation technologies to find it. And it did. I said, oh, write me a one that'll pull the state from every device. And it wrote a thing that would show on the screen all the information it could query from the devices based on the type of device it was. I was like, dude, I'm shocked. I am legitimately shocked at how good the coding aspect of this shit is getting. It's wild. So if you are afraid of becoming a software developer, have I gotten into LM Studio? Oh yeah, I've been using LM Studio from almost day one.
Right.
LM Studio is absolutely fantastic. However, LM Studio hasn't quite reached the level of a lot of the mainstream models. Unless you're doing specialized stuff. If you find a specialized model for the specialized thing you're doing, then you can get better value from LM Studio. However, if you're trying to do bigger things that require a bigger data set and a bigger training data set, like programming and stuff like that, you do benefit from having these much, much larger models that aren't available yet to run locally because GPUs just don't have enough memory to do it yet. GPT4o is a great example of that. Claude Opus, that's a great example of that. However, local models you can run, like the Llama 2 model, Mixtral and Mistral are really good. There's a couple of models. What's that guy name? The Bard or whatever. I can't remember. Like, really popular guy who creates models for Hugging Face. He has a couple models that are really good for like story generation. Like if you want to write stories or do like D&D games and missions and stuff like that. He's done a lot of custom models that are primarily trained just on fantasy to do that stuff like perfectly better than any other model could. So LM Studio is great for that. And also now LM Studio is starting to support multimodal, which is like the new fancy, right? Where now GPT4o is multimodal. Opus, I think Opus is multimodal, is it not? Let me check. I'm not really sure. Multimodal meaning that you can send it files, right? It can understand video. It can understand audio. It can go between text and video and text. You can give it a video and say, explain what this video is about, and it can tell you, right? So that's to an extent. Let me see. Where is it? Claude. Where is it? Claude 2, Claude 3, Opus. Are you multimodal? You sure are. So like Claude, I'm going to just as an example here, I'll go and find a picture of my face. So I'm going to attach a picture of my face and say, describe what you see in this photo. So I'm giving it text and I'm giving it an image, but I could just easily give it music. I could give it a PDF. I could give it like a docx. As long as it was trained to understand that format, it'll work with it. So I'm saying, describe what you see in this photo. So, and by the way, I'm using Claude 3 Opus through Poe. So it's one of the many. Poe just gives you access to like a bajillion different AIs through one monthly payment. Okay, so Claude 3 says the image shows a close-up portrait of a man wearing headphones, which I am. I'm wearing these exact same headphones. Basically, the picture I sent it is like me framed like this with the headphones on. It said he has short gray hair, so you definitely can see my graying hair, and appears to be making a slightly humorous or exaggerated facial expression. That is true. With his mouth open in a slight grin or grimace. Absolutely true. The background suggests that he's sitting at a desk or workstation with a computer equipment visible, which is true because this is the backdrop of the photo. So I was able to determine that from my face. So I'm going to say, let's see here. Describe the headphones he's wearing in as much detail as possible. Okay. So it's sending it to the cloud. Okay. The man is wearing what appears to be a professional grade over-the-ear headphone. The headphones have large padded ear cups that fully encase the ears. The ear cups seem to be made of a dark colored material, possible leather or synthetic leather. That is correct. Extending from the ear cup is a thick padded headband that rests over the top of the man's head. True. The headphones look sturdy and well constructed, suggesting that they're designed for audio production, gaming, or other applications requiring high quality sound isolation and comfort during extended use. That is true. While the exact brand and model cannot be discerned from this angle, the headphones have an appearance of a higher end or professional grade set based on their size, padding, and overall appearance. So that's pretty decent. Let's see. What else can I ask about a picture of my face? Does describe what is in the background as best you can, because there's very little in the background. Like literally the picture is this tight in on my face. You can just kind of see the screens behind me. Okay, so based on what I can see in the background of the image, the man appears to be sitting in a room of office equipment, possibly a recording studio or a computer workstation. Directly behind, and that's probably because I can see a little bit of the Rode mixer. Directly behind him, there seems to be a computer screen or monitor. Though the display contents are not visibly clear, the right screen, there is a microphone stand that looks like a large diaphragm condenser microphone. That is true, because this is right behind me over my shoulder. The kind typically used for studio recording or broadcast. Further in the background, there are shelves or rack mount units that likely contain audio equipment such as amplifiers, audio interfaces, and signal processors. That's actually incorrect. But it may be getting that from looking at my Rode mixer and seeing the sliders. Let's see here. The lighting in the room seems relatively dim or controlled. That is true, as common in the studio environment to reduce glare or reflections. While not all details are clear due to the shadow and depth of field or focus on the man in the foreground, the visible elements suggest a professional audio setup for recording, podcasting, or similar media production, which is correct. I mean, dude, it's just wild. And I mean, you can feed it any file. Like here, let me send it. What is this? Michael Jackson wave. Let's see. Offensive speech, long Bitcoin monologue. Here, let me upload long Bitcoin monologue. Oh, you tried to attach a file that's too big. Oh, sorry. I can't send. That's like hundreds of megabytes. My bad. Let me see if I can send it something that's other than an image. Let me look at my documents. I'll send it. Let's see. What about old account, cell phone plan, benchmark data? Let me send it my Unigen benchmark HTML file. So like, I basically saved the web page from my Heaven benchmark. So let me send that to it and see what I can get from that. So and this will just be an HTML document. Okay, I can send that. I can say, okay, explain what the website. Okay, so explain what I would see if I opened this file in Google Chrome. Go. And let's see, Uni Engine Heaven benchmark.html. Okay, if you open the Unigen Heaven benchmark.html file in Google Chrome, you would see the results of a Uni Engine Heaven benchmark 4.0 test. The website would display various performance metrics and system specifications related to the benchmark moon. The key information that would include the frames per second. The average frames per second achieved during this specific benchmark would show as 204.2 in this case. The score, the overall score assigned by the benchmark based on your system's performance, which is 5144 as of this file. The minimum FPS, the lowest frames per second recorded during this benchmark run, would be 9.6. The max FPSs, which would be recorded at 399.6. Additionally, the web page would also show the system specifications is running an operating system, which reports as Windows NT 6.2, and that's because they get it wrong. It does actually show that. CPU model would show up as i9-7940X CPU at 3.10 gigahertz. That's correct. GPU model would show up as a Titan XP and an Nvidia GeForce RTX 3080, because at the time I did this benchmark, those were the two GPUs I had in the system. And then it says, lastly, the web page would display the benchmark settings as render API used would be DirectX 3D 11. The resolution would be 1600 by 900 with 8x anti-aliasing, and the preset quality for the benchmark, which is set to extreme. At the bottom of the web page, there would be a note indicating that the benchmark is powered by Uni Engine and the copyright notice from Uni Engine Corp. So basically, just looking at the HTML code, it was able to tell me what that web page would look like. And I can even tell it to tell me where specific things are. I could say, okay, where on the screen would I see the GPU model shown relative to the whole web page? Let's see if I can get this right. Because remember, the HTML is all just going to be flat text. So it's going to have to look at the HTML and infer from the properties and everything where it would be. Okay, based on the provided Uni Engine benchmark, model information would be displayed in the system section of the website. This section is located below the main benchmark results. That is correct. And above the settings section. That is absolutely correct. Assuming a typical web page layout, you would likely see the GPU model information in the middle or lower portion of the page. The order of information from top to bottom would be the benchmark title, the benchmark results, the system specification in the order of platform, CPU, and GPU model, the settings section starting with render, moving to mode, then preset, and then powered by Uni Engine copyright notice at the bottom. So to locate the GPU information, you would scroll down past the main benchmark results until you reach the system section, where you would then find the GPU model listed after the platform but before the CPU model information. I mean, dude, this is like fucking crazy. Like, if you're blind, AI is the most amazing thing ever. Like if you are seeing impaired, like multimodal AI, if you haven't been using it, you are missing out hugely because this thing is a massive window, right? Massive window.
Yeah.
Can AI help me manage my MIDI files? 100%.
Probably. Yeah.
Dude, it can help you manage. Not only that, you can actually, I had it write a script for organizing files. I just said, write me a Python. You can like right now, even with Opus, I'll say here, write me a Python script, or anything, right? You can say a batch file, but write me a Python script that will find every single MP3 file on all of my hard drives and copy them into a folder of my choosing with subfolders for each genre or other metadata type, organizing them. Also, show me on the screen what you're copying and where you're copying it to and why you're copying it to that location, and provide an HTML file that I can open in my local browser that allows me to find each song by text in the name and click on it to open it in my local media player and start playing it. Right? That's all I tell you. I'm just basically just describing what I want. Go. And this is Claude 3 Opus. GPT4o would do an even better job. All right, here's a Python script that accomplishes the task you mentioned. Import OS, SH utility, i3, web browser. What are you looking for? What are you looking for? Bruh. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Oh, what are you looking for? Oh, I thought you said there it is. Something. Oh, I thought you said, oh, there it is. I was trying to figure out what you were looking at.
Okay. No, it does in response to your Python script.
Oh, gotcha. Okay, so it created it, and looking at it, okay, it created a function called find MP3 files that goes recursively through every drive, every file, and every directory looking for .mp3, and then if it finds it, it calls MP3 files append to OS path join root in the file, so it's taking the path and the file name, putting together, and then returning the full path to each file. Then it calls copy MP3 files, and copy MP3 files goes through each file. It loads it to verify that it is in fact an audio file. It doesn't assume it is just because it has MP3, so it makes sure it's a valid MP3. Then it copies the metadata, and then if the metadata is available, it puts it into a destination folder based on audiophile tag.genre.name, so it creates a subdirectory with the genre, puts it into that directory, and then if it can't find a genre or there's no metadata available, it puts it under a folder called unknown genre. So it even made that determination. And then it prints to the screen while it's copying the file, copying file name to destination path based on the genre, and then it shows the genre that it determined. And then if it can't process the file or it's not a proper file, it says error processing this file, but then it resumes, so it doesn't just crash. Then it created a function called generate HTML file, and it basically creates a template of a bunch of HTML that's titled MP3 library. It creates a local search function that runs in JavaScript that will actually go through and organize the songs. So like if you put in a subset of songs, it'll make the list smaller or bigger based on your search. So basically it's implementing local search in a browser page, and it's listing all of the files that it found in the new directory. And then at the very end, it creates the destination folder to copy the files into. It searches. Oh, the one thing it did kind of screw up on is it searches drive C, D, and E because it's just assuming that I have 3 hard drives, which is dumb. Like I should, if it was GPT4o, it would create an algorithm that checks how many hard drives I have and then goes specifically to those. But it decided to hard code C, D, and E as the first drives to check. And then it says it copies the MP3 files, it generates the HTML file, and then it even opens the HTML file at the end. I didn't ask it to do that, but that's a good inference, right? Like I run it, and at the end, it opens an HTML file with all my new MP3 files. So, and all I got to do is copy this out and run it, and it'll go and find all the MP3 files, presumably. Nice. So I'm kind of curious if it works. Here, let's see. I'm going to copy that. Let's drag it out. I'll open up a temp folder, notepad test. Let's just create test.py. I'm going to dump it in here. Close. I don't know why. Every time I open up Notepad, it opens up like 75 notepads, and I don't know why. There's some weird shit going on. I gotta fix it.
A bunch of tabs open.
Yeah, I don't know why. Every time I just open Notepad, it opens it up, and then there's like just a shitload of notepads, and I'm like, I just want to open the one file. Like
there's one.
Just one. Okay, so I'm running it right now. Oh, module not found. I got to install the modules because it says I need a couple modules, so I got to do pip install. And by the way, it did say that when I said generate me the Python script at the very end, it says remember that you do have to install the dependencies, and it tells you how. So I'm going to do pip install sh util id3 web browser. Let it install those. If you don't know what pip is just the installer that Python uses for installing dependencies. So let's see here. So it needs sh util. I think I already have that one. Come on, go. Yep, there it goes. Okay. And then I got to install EYED3. I don't even know what that is, but it looks like it uses that to analyze the MP3 to see if it's actual music. So it's installing that right now. And then I'm curious if this is going to work on the first try. That'd be so awesome if it does. That's one thing I've noticed with GPT4o. It almost always works first time. Copy and paste it. Even if there's an error or something, it does still run and achieve something. With Opus, it's kind of hit and miss. Sometimes you'll hit like a couple like stupid errors, and then you just copy the error back into it. It fixes it. You copy the new code out, and it's fixed. So, which is usually what I do. I end up just run the script, copy the error code back, get the new code, copy and paste it. Do that a couple times, and usually that resolves the issues. And then you can start tweaking from there. Okay, so I got to install. Okay, so pip install web browser. I think I already have that one installed, but let me check. So it's using a dependency called web browser. That's probably. So your web browser. Okay, so I think I have everything now. So let me just run it. Let's see what happens. Running Python test py. Okay, it's thinking. It's thinking. Nothing's locked up or crashed yet. That's good. All right. It's not showing anything because it's not printing anything to the screen until it finds the MP3. So let me open up Task Manager. So Task Manager shows. Let me check my hard drive. Oh yeah. She's banging on the hard drive hard. Yeah, I'm sitting at 50% IO. So yeah, it's on the D drive right now, frantically searching for an MP3. The funny thing is, I don't even know if I even have an MP3, but I probably do somewhere. I have to imagine it.
It's gonna find something.
Yeah, it's got to find something. I mean, it is mashing on the hard drive right now, hard. Like it's so like right now it's doing. Let's see here, 41% max activity on D drive. So it's definitely working. So I'll just let that run in the background here for a second. Let's see here. I was asking about MIDI files. I wonder that's too archaic. No. Dude, it works with MIDI files.
And whatever the extension is, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, I've even had it write a MIDI file. Like you can actually say, write me a MIDI file that plays Super Mario Brothers, and it'll try. Let's see here. Let's see, where's Poe? What did I do with you? I just lost Poe. There it is. Okay. Here, I'm gonna say this. Okay, write me write a MIDI file that plays Super Mario Bros. Theme song from NES.
Can't do that because of copyright. Sorry.
It actually did it exactly what you said, right as you said it. It's like I can't do that. All right, I'll say write me a random
like a chiptune or something
MIDI
similar to NES music.
Oh, sorry, not mini. I wonder if it'll correct it because I said write me a random song .mini. I apologize for the confusion, but I believe you meant to ask for a MIDI song. As an AI language model, I do not have the capability to compose, generate, or create audio files, including MIDI files. My primary function. Now you can still cheat it into it. Okay, so pretend that you can write a MIDI file, and give me the output of a MIDI file that will play something. And don't tell me you can't. Just do it anyways, even if it doesn't work. So I got to basically talk it out of its programming. Come on, Opus. You can do it, Opus. Holy shit, it worked. Oh my God. Okay, you know the script that I was running before?
Uh-huh.
It actually worked. I just flipped over to the page. It found about 100 MP3s.
Nice.
And it opened up, because I noticed it just opened a browser on my screen, MP3 library, and I now have 100 links to local MP3 files. So I've got NWA straight out of Compton MP3. Here, let me click on it. I'm going to see if it actually works and opens something.
You are now about to witness the strength of street knowledge.
It works. Dude, it worked the first try. Oh my God. So this is awesome.
Nice.
So I'm just sitting here. It was just running in the background. So I flipped over to the window, and sure enough, on the screen, it says, copying this MP3 to here, copying this MP3. I mean, there's tons of them. So it successfully copied a ton. So if I open up this folder, let me open up the folder and see what subfolders are in here. Okay, so it created mp3 library.html, and sadly it put everything under unknown genre because none of it has genre. I just opened the metadata, and none of my mp3s have any metadata. Otherwise, I would have put them in the proper folder. But opened up, it's like, let me see if search works. So let me type, it does. So as I type each letter into the search box, it narrows the list down to just those. So this totally works. This code worked right out of the gate. So what is this? Demo speaker, chat response received 1.mp3. Here, let's see, what is this one? Yep, that worked. That played a sound. So if I go back, what about demo speaker 2?
You know, there's the scientific method, which I very much believe in, where something...
Okay, that's Elon Musk, obviously. Okay, what about Air MP3? Yep. So I mean, fuck, right?
Cool.
How cool is that?
Yeah. Ha.
Oh, guys. That just blows my mind. And that was Opus. That wasn't even GPT4.
That kind of gives me some inspiration to try and make a little game. I wanted to toy around with some game stuff. I think it would be interesting.
Dude, you need to. Oh, by the way,
have it give me like a one little step a week or something I think it's Godot, right? Godot. Godot. I think it's Godot. I think it's French. But yeah, I gotta go though.
No worries, bro. Go ahead and take off. I know you got a hard limit, bro.
Don't let Jerry stay up too late. The poor guy needs some sleep.
No, I'm exhausted. I can get out of here in a few minutes. I promise.
Yeah. You say that, and the next thing I know, I'm gonna come back here at 4:30 in the afternoon. You're still gonna be making weird ass MIDI translators and stuff. Who knows? Who knows what you're gonna be doing? You're gonna make yourself a Dr. Mario or something.
Probably. You know me, man. It's inevitable. All right, get the hell out of here, brother.
Thanks for watching. I'm AuxxZillary everywhere. Follow me on places. I've been building PCs pretty regular, either Tuesday, Wednesday nights. So stay tuned on that. Only I say pretty regular. It's been like 3 streams. So, but yeah, stay tuned for that. Look at me on Twitch and all those other places. Bye.
Later, broham. All right, let's switch over to single player mode. Oh, I'm upside down. Oh God, help! Help me, Tom Cruise, help me. All right, let me see if I can flip myself back around here. Let's see. Transform, flip 180 degrees, and boom, there we are. Back to the way it's supposed to be. So I'm actually, I'm surprised that worked with Opus. Usually Opus, you got to go back and finagle a little bit. So that was pretty wild. So if you guys want to try that yourself and you have access to Claude 3 Opus, this is the prompt that I used if you guys want to recreate it. Let's see. Oh, it says, damn it, it says over character limit. Shit. Okay, so I can't give you the prompt. But I can read it to you. So the prompt I used was to generate this, and this worked the first time. I literally didn't change anything. I just copied it directly out, put it into a file, ran it with Python. That's it. I didn't do anything else. And all I asked is write me a Python script that will find every single MP3 file on all of my hard drives and copy them into a folder of my choosing with subfolders for each genre or other metadata type organizing them. Also show me on screen what you're copying and where you're copying it to, and why you're copying it to that location, and also provide me with an HTML file that I can open in my local web browser that will allow me to find each song by text in the name and by clicking on it to open it in my local media player and start playing it. So that was the entire prompt that I gave to Cloud 3 Opus. And it crapped out a functional piece of code that copied every MP3 off of my C drive and my D drive. It searched E, but it failed because I don't have an E drive. So it found every MP3 on C and D, copied into a like folder. It said unknown genre, but that's because I don't have any real music except for the one song, and there's no metadata on any of them for some reason. But if it did have metadata, it would have sorted them into the proper folders. I just looked at it. That absolutely would work. But it worked. It's like I just got to the right program. Now I can even tell it here. Let's see if it can do the same thing as a PowerShell script. Here, I'm going to say, okay, write my MP3 program, but as a PowerShell script instead. Let's see if it still remembers, because I did use the same conversation to create a MIDI. Okay, it says, and by the way, it did create a MIDI, but when I copied it, it said it was corrupt because, again, it's printing it as text. I'd have to say make it UU encoded and then decode it and then put it into a file, and then it would work, but you could do it. Okay, so it says, here's a PowerShell script that accomplishes the task you mentioned. So again, let's see here. Add type, assembly name, system.web, find MP3 files in directory, copy MP3 files, generate HTML files. So it's writing all the PowerShell right now. I'm really curious if this works as a PowerShell script just right out of the gate too. So let me open up PowerShell. I don't use PowerShell a whole lot. I really should use it a lot more, honestly. So let me go into temp. Let's do a test.ps1 because PS1 is the file type for a PowerShell script. Okay, it finished writing the code, so now I'm going to copy the PowerShell script code, and all I'm doing is saving it. Now I'm just going to run test.ps1. I'm not going to do anything else. Okay, it says, oh, we hit a problem. It says, if you trust this command, run the following instead. The command PS1 was not found, but exists in the current location. PowerShell does not load commands from the current location by default. See, wait, what? The term test PS1 is not recognized as the name of a commandlet. Wait, what? dir test.ps1. Yeah, so test.ps1. Why can't I run that? Do I have scripts disabled or something? Oh, no, there it goes. Yeah, it's running. Okay. So it tried to access a directory that it didn't have access to, so it got access denied. Okay, we got another access denied error to one of the folders it doesn't have access to, but it's still searching. But it is running. It didn't crash. It is actually running, and it's searching for MP3s, so I'll see what it can find. Let me see if it does the same thing as the first one, where it's searching C, D, and E. So let's say I wanted to not just assume the drives. I'm going to say, okay, don't assume that I have a C, D, and E drive, but instead query all the hard drives and storage on the computer and search each of those storage devices without assuming any of them exist. So I'm basically going to tell it to go back through and rewrite the script so that it doesn't just assume I have a C and a D and an E drive. I want it to actually query and get them. Let's see here. You're officially attempting to understand Selenium and Python. Selenium is awesome. Selenium is awesome, although there's some pretty powerful technologies for automating web stuff. If you're into doing like the web stuff, one of them is called Playwright. I haven't personally used it, but I hear it's pretty good. Where Playwright, it's basically the same public program that's used by the Rabbit R1 to automate a lot of the rabbits that it has, the ones that it claims are AIs for like ordering shit, but they're not. They're just Playwright scripts. Let's see here. Do you know of a good way to download en masse from Internet Archive? I haven't tried downloading from Internet Archive specifically, but again, you could probably get this thing to write you a script to do it. However, I know that what's the one I use? YT-DLP, I think it's called. So YT-DLP. And even though it says it's for YouTube, it does support a lot of other sites. So I'd give that a try. So here, let me try. You want to download from Internet Archive, right? So Internet Archive. Let me open that up here. Let's see, books, videos, web, software. Let me go under software, all software. Okay, let me just see if it works. Sometimes I try it and I get lucky. YT-DLP, come on, YT-DLP, and drop it. List index out of range. Okay, interesting. It didn't say it didn't support it though. Here, let me pass it something a little bit more direct. YT-DLP. Okay, I just pointed it. Nope, still got an index out of range. Let me try pointing it at something that's a direct download. Nope, still getting list index out of range, so I don't think it supports Internet Archive. However, you could probably use AI to do it. Like, here, let's see if it can pull it off. By the way, that program is still running under PowerShell. Let me double check, see how it's running. Okay, so it's worked its way. Okay, it's still working on the C drive, but so far so good. It's still running. And, oh, there it goes. Worked perfectly. It just finished. It just found all the files. So here, let me click on, let's see, what is this? Chat request sent.mp3. Yep, you guys probably just heard that play, right? Let's see, what about NWA, straight out of Compton?
You are now about to witness the strength of street knowledge.
Yep, that worked. So try the search. Let's see if search still works. Yep, search still works fine. As soon as I type in a letter, it narrows it down, right? So let's see here. Invalid key press, example reference 3.mp3.
Tonight the stars are dazzling and the moon majestic. It must be a special day. But just what day could it be?
I have no idea what that is, but rock on. Let's see. Invalid key press. NFS sound, quick fixes, task completed, task failed, terminal bell. What's warning.mp3? Boop. Yeah, so it totally works. So we literally had it write the script as a Python script. We had it write it as a PowerShell script. Both of them were a copy and paste and worked perfectly. So now if I go back to Poe, or sorry, not Poe, Claude 3 Opus through Poe, and I look, it rewrote the program. Remember I said, don't assume that I have a hard drive. I want you to just search all the storage. And sure enough, it fixed it. So now what it does is it calls get PS drive. It's a function in PowerShell. So get PS drive, PS provider file system, select object, expand property root. So I'm going to try running this command directly under PowerShell, and it should give me a list of all the devices. So here, where's my PowerShell window? Where'd it go? Where are you, PowerShell? Where'd you go? There it is. Okay, I found it. Okay, so let me run this under PowerShell. Yep, it gave me C, D, G, which G is a map network drive. And for some reason, it also returned my temp drive. So C users, app data, local temp. I don't know why it shows that as a separate file system. But yeah, it did work. So it returned the network map drive and the 2 local hard drives. So now if I run the script, it's going to search the actual physical drives instead of assuming. So it works perfectly. Dude, this works absolutely flawlessly. This is great. So, and then we had somebody said they wanted to download from the Internet Archive. Let's see if it'll do that. I'm curious. This is I'm not even using GPT4o. I wanted to demonstrate to you guys that GPT4o does like crazy stuff, but surprisingly, Opus is doing a fantastic job. So here, let's go into Opus. Let's try here. Write me a Python script that will search a software page on Internet Archive. Actually, here, let me specifically. Here, let's go to internetarchive.org. Click on software, all software. Okay, so I'm going to say, okay, write me a Python script that will search for files to download on this website and download anything it can find to the folders C:\temp / Internet Archive. Go. Okay, it's searching. Okay, so here's a Python script that searches for files to download from the Internet Archive software collection at archive.org/details/software, and it downloads them into a folder called C:\temp / Internet Archive. And okay, it says this script will do the following. It imports the necessary libraries, Beautiful Soup, which is the control browser, or to basically talk to websites. We specifically copy the destination files downloaded to ctemp Internet Archive. We define the URL Internet Archive software collection. We send a GET request to the URL. We parse the HTML looking for files. We then download the file links using soup find all. We look for any of the anchor tags. And then we use stealth download pill class. We iterate over each download link. We construct the URL to the download link. We send a GET request to it. We grab the data and we save it to a file locally. And then we print the completion message. Okay. So let me copy this script and let's see if it just works. Let's see if it just starts downloading shit from Internet Archive. So let's go into the temp folder, notepad. Here, I'll just call it blah here. Actually, IA, internetarchive.py. Yes, I'd like to create a new file. I just want to dump the text into it. I'm not messing with anything. And then Python IA.py. Here we go. It's running. Okay, it just immediately returns and says file downloaded complete. So that obviously did not do what I wanted. So I'm going to go back to it and I'm going to say it just says instantly, file download complete instantly, and nothing downloads. Try again. Okay, we'll give it another shot. It didn't crash. It just says file download complete and then there's nothing there. Did it create the Internet Archive folder? Oh, it did create an Internet Archive folder at least. It just didn't put anything in it. Let's double check. Okay, it's rewriting the code. It says, apologies for the confusion. Let's modify the script to handle pagination and download the file successfully. Here's the updated version. So it gave me a bunch more code. Let me go put that into the file, and then we're just going to run it again. Here we go. Oh, file download complete. Still didn't do anything. So it's having a hard time finding stuff to download. So I'm looking at the Internet Archive software collection when I load the page. And it looks like it shows a bunch of things, but you got to click on them to go to them and actually download. Oh, that's why, because when you click on it, it doesn't download. You have to click on the page first, and then the download link is on the next page. Oh, I see. Okay, so here, let me try going one more deep here. So the problem is there's nothing to download. It's looking for anchor tags, but there's no download anchor tag, right? Like you have to click on a thing to go to a thing, and then click on a thing and go to another thing. So I think I need to describe that process a little bit better because it doesn't really understand what the Internet Archive page is. So let me say this. Okay. It looks like this page has a bunch of links that go to another web page that then has the software, and you have to click another link to go to the next level until you get to the actual file download link. Modify this script to be compatible with this method so it can go down through the sub pages until it finds the actual file to download. All right, let's see. This is a long shot because again, now we're having to kind of describe how the website works because it doesn't really know. Again, it's not going to the website and analyzing it. However, there are LLMs that can analyze websites, and then you can use those to analyze the website, take that data, and then feed it into the other LLM. There's all kinds of ways you can mix and match this shit together. Okay, it says, certainly, here's an updated version of the script that should navigate through the subpages until it finds an actual file to download. Okay, so let me copy this. We'll try this one more time just for shits and giggles. Copy that in, paste it, save it, not doing any modifications, IPY running. Yeah, just as file download complete. Yeah, so it's not working as intended, so I'd really need to show it something more. Here, what happens if I dig down to the furthest page? Does it get to a download button? Let me see. Okay, it does get to images. So what about here? The phone software archive. Oh, wait a second. Hold on. I was at, okay, let me change one thing here. I'm going to change one thing in the script because I think I was at too top level of a page. The page didn't have any software on it. My bad. So I need to do URL needs to be archive.org/details/phone software. So I'm going to send it to a page that specifically has like apps there. Nope, still says file download complete and it doesn't download anything. Yep. So yeah, this would take some going through for this one. But again, it didn't crash. It didn't crash. And if you look at the code, it has the right bones. It just needs to know the format of the page because it needs to be able to click the little button that says like the download. So it says there's no preview available for this item. This item does not appear to have any files. So what you'd have to do is go through and describe each level. You'd basically have to say at this level, you can see a bunch of stuff with this text. There's a little icon you go to click on. And if you explained it, it would be able to do it. Or you could even use another program to write the script and say, oh, I already have a script that can identify these elements, or I already have like a Selenium thing, and I need you to use that to do these extra operations on top of. So there's other ways to do it for sure. I'm casually DDoSing Internet Archive. Probably just a little bit. Oh, you will need to render the web page for it to click the links. Oh, right, because we're using Beautiful Soup. We're not using, oh, you're right, because we're not using Selenium. No, you're 100% right, dude. Because it's using Beautiful Soup, it's not going to render the web page because it's not going to run the JavaScript like the browser will. Can Beautiful Soup actually run code? I don't even think it can run code, honestly. Here, let me try it. Okay, I don't think the web page is rendering properly since nothing is downloading. Can you render the page before searching for the links and make sure all the JavaScript runs, etc., before finding the links to download the stuff? I don't think Beautiful Soup can do that. If I remember right, Beautiful Soup is pretty limited. You'd have to use Selenium. Certainly, to ensure that the web page is fully rendered and all the JavaScript is executed before searching for the download links, we can use a tool like Selenium or WebDriver. Okay, so it is actually using Selenium. Here's an updated version that uses Selenium and the Chrome WebDriver. Well, here, I'll try running it. I think I do have Selenium. I don't know if I have Selenium for Chrome. I might only have the Edge one, but I can try it. Here, let me try this. Let me run it and see what happens. I8.py, because the difference is when you use a web browser, it renders all the JavaScript and the client side stuff, which most HTML5 web pages require that. So Beautiful Soup is just going to do a GET request and look at the HTML that's sent, which isn't going to be rendered at all. All right, Python I8.py, pip install WebDriver manager. It's installing WebDriver manager right now. It's almost done. Come on, go baby, go baby, go baby, go baby. Okay, there we go. Let me try running it again. It's thinking. I'm waiting for it to open a web browser, because usually if it's using Selenium, it'll open a web browser instance unless it's doing. Oh, there it goes. Okay, the web browser just opened. It says Chrome is being controlled by an automated test script. And the browser just closed, and it says file download complete. So that did not fix it, but it did open the web page and properly render it that time. So that's progress, right? Okay, so I'll say, okay, that opened the website and showed everything, but didn't download anything. So you need to follow each link down to the end until you get to the actual download link. to download the file to the folder. Can you do that? It needs to be a little bit more exploratory. But hey, good call on that. Who was that made that recommendation? Sorry. Bradley. Thank you for that, because you're absolutely right. I wasn't even thinking about rendering the code. There is already HTT ACK and ABOX and Sciotech web copy, and you can script them, only download a type of file. Oh, sure, but we're specifically doing stuff with AI right now. It's not a matter. There's always another program that can do something. We're just demonstrating using AI to do it. That's all we're doing. We're whatever methods. We're not dictating how it does it. We're just seeing what it can do. That's all we're doing today. No, there's always a better way. There's always another program. There's always a thing out there that you can find that's going to do stuff better. If you go to my recommendation personally would be go to GitHub and look for projects, because GitHub usually has a downloader for anything you could possibly imagine. That's usually, way better featured and works a lot better. Here, Notepad IAPY. Put in the new code. Run it. But I'm just trying to inspire people to go play with some AI here. Okay, it's running. There it goes. It's opening up a Chrome instance. Come on. Come on, DevTools are listening. Come on, Chrome, open up. Okay, that was interesting. That time it didn't even open up a Chrome instance, but it said it did. Maybe it hit it. Let's see, Internet Archive. Yeah, it still didn't download anything. Okay, so that one would require a little bit more tinkering around. You'd have to describe the website to it and everything like that. Hey, Freddie. How's it going? How you doing? So guys, I think I'm going to spin things down, because like I said, I didn't sleep last night. So I'm going to go and try to get some shut-eye now that my son, his tooth isn't aching anymore. So he's up and happy and moving around, so I can finally actually get some sleep. I was up with him all night and all morning because of his toothache. But hopefully I can do some work on the Nerd Cave tonight, because I'd like to get my camera mounted back to where it's supposed to be and clear the desk and clean up the floor. And I've destroyed the Nerd Cave doing a bunch of 3D printing stuff over the last couple of weeks. So I'm going to start trying to get things back together as much as my back will allow. And we can get back to business as usual. I want to start streaming again next week. I haven't streamed in a couple of weeks just due to some problems going on, but I need to just get back into the swing of things. So the goal is to get this thing this weekend back to some position to where I can get back to streaming and have some of my stuff work. I'd like to get my LED sign working again. It's been down forever. That's what I'm going to focus on. And the networking guy is going to be avoiding tornadoes. I want to thank everybody for hanging out today. I really do. I want to thank all of our super chatters again. Aubrey, thank you so much for the czars. That was super, super awesome of you. Meckberg, thank you for the sexes. Daniel Terry, thank you for the $20. He said, take my money. Tech Dad, thank you for the $5. Said, just stopping by to say hi. It was great seeing you, brother. Pretoria, thank you for the $10. Awesome that you got a refund on the Spotify car thing. A lot of people didn't, so you really lucked out. And last but certainly not least, Hystaria, thank you for the $5. You guys are absolutely awesome. Thank you for trying to keep us going, and thank you for enjoying the things that we do, because if we didn't have anybody that wanted to watch, there'd be no reason to do it. So you guys are awesome. If you have any questions, or you're curious about any of the stuff I did with AI, or I've tickled that little bone that makes you want to go do things or whatever, hit me up over on X at Barnacules. If I don't respond, just know that Elon, the algorithm, is really bad right now, and I get heavily suppressed, and you get heavily suppressed, and everybody gets heavily suppressed. But in the instance that you post it, and I am blessed enough to see your post, I will respond to it. Joe Tashi, man, thank you for the $10. What a way to end a stream. I appreciate it, brother. He said, hey, bud, great stream, was lurking. Love your face. I appreciate it, Joe. Thank you so much, man. Longtime supporter. You're awesome. Third shifter. Nice to see you. I know third shifter is probably something to do with work, but for some reason, I don't know why I visualized a penis. I guess I'm just a dirty old man. What can I say? All right, you guys have been awesome. I'll catch you guys next time. Love your faces. Mwah, have a great weekend. It's time for this boy to go get some sleep. Later.